Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description of this live stream right now for you early birds. So go ahead and get your question in that form right now, and there's a really good chance it's going to get answered here on the show today. In addition to that, I want to let you know that today's stream is brought to you by Tubebuddy, which is the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. It'll help you optimize your videos for search. It'll help you test your thumbnails. It will help you do all kinds of great things when it comes to your YouTube channel. A lot of people think that Tubebuddy is like 1 or 2 tools, but they have 90 different tools that will help you with your YouTube channel. You can try Tubebuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin, or there's a link down in the description below this stream. I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by or co-sponsored by StreamYard. StreamYard is the live streaming software that I use to stream this stream every single Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because it's not hard on my computer. I can add graphics to the screen like you can see right here. In addition to that, it does all the heavy lifting for me. So in the cloud. So if my internet goes down, my electric goes down, anything weird happens, my stream is still open. So I can join in on my phone or once my computer reboots or whatever the thing is. But there's that, and then a bunch of additional things with StreamYard as well in terms of being able to easily bring in guests, which we'll probably be doing later in the show today, that kind of stuff. But you can try that out through the link in the description, or of course, you can also go to StreamYard.com. So with all of that out of the way, I hope everybody has had a fantastic week. I know that I had a great week this week so far. I'm just kind of, cruising right along, enjoying myself, for the week. And I hope that you are, enjoying yourself as well. If you are a regular viewer here, of course, you can go ahead and just give this video a thumbs up now, just because you know what's coming. If you are new here, I do want to let you know, like I mentioned before, that I'm answering your YouTube questions. So, as a content creator, this stuff is hard. There's a lot of things that you need to learn about YouTube and a lot of things that you can learn that helps you kind of accelerate what's going on, with your YouTube channel. And those are the types of things that we talk about today. In addition to that, with these streams, they're all question-based. So I have no idea the direction that it's going to go today in terms of the specific questions that are going to be answered. So because of that, if you have a question, feel free to share yours. But in addition to that, hang out, listen to this in the background while you're doing something else or whatever it happens to be, because there's a lot of really great information that ends up coming out of these live streams, and I don't want you to miss it. So for everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out today, and I'm super excited to get into the stream today. And the very first question, I'm actually going to just go ahead and get this thing started. Got a few buttons I got to press here on my end to get some other things started here as well. So I will go ahead and do those also. But while those are getting started up, the very first question that we have on our list today. Yeah, always an adventure. Always an adventure for sure. Here, always an adventure. We never know the direction that this is going to go. So our very first question today is from Camperski. Camperski says they do daily content, and the type of channel is game information. And the goal of the channel is helping out with news and updates, which is really cool. And the question is, hey, Nick, I have a FIFA gaming channel. How many gamers are here? We're just getting started. Not a lot of people here right now, but if you are a gamer, definitely let me know in the chat. I love, I love the, just kind of knowing, hey, what type of content that you make. And as a matter of fact, if you are a gamer, let me know that you're a gamer. Just saying gamer, whatever type of content it is that you make, go ahead and put that in here too, because, I know a lot of people, they look for collaborations and that kind of thing during the stream. So because of that, if you do see somebody that you think would be a great collaboration partner, then, definitely, feel free to reach out to them as well. So let's see here. So on this channel, the question says, hey, Nick, I have a FIFA gaming channel. I make videos about the daily content in the game. Now I also want to start streaming live, playing the game and interacting with the chat. Would I leave the videos on demand of the stream on the channel, remove, or unlist? So the approach that you want to take when it comes to, if you should unlist a live stream or not, really comes down to if your live streams, like after the stream is finished, isn't that great. Right? If your live streams are, in terms of the replay value, right? Because of course, while you're live, it's going to be awesome because you're playing the game. But if you think to yourself, I don't know, I'm going to leave this up and just kind of see how, my audience responds to it, or how well it does on the replay in terms of additional views and watch time and all that I'll get from it. Then in that case, go ahead and leave it live on the channel. However, if you're like, yeah, this is probably a pretty rough experience for people when they come in on the replay, then in that case, go ahead and take it down or enlist it. But if you do that, a couple things that you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind. One is that when you do unlist a live stream or a piece of video content, or if you make it private, or if you delete it, of course, then you lose your public watch time and your public view count. So if you are somebody that is trying to get into the YouTube partner program, while you're getting started, like, just leave everything up so that, for those people that did interact with your stream, you get that, that credit, so to speak, towards your watch time requirements to get to the YouTube partner program. So make sure that you are doing that. So before we move on to the next question here, really quick, I just want to say what's up to Paul Peck Drywall Tube. What's up, man? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Brad Magic Flying Potato, hope that you are also doing awesome today. Mr. Camera Junkie, thank you for swinging by and hanging out in the stream today. Appreciate it. My son's mother, nice to see you in here. Saw Kitty in here somewhere as well. I'm kind of looking for that one. Bombi, what's going on? Nice to see you in here. Earth Central says, I cover natural disasters as they happen. Not really a lot that can have collabs. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, hopefully not, right? Since you're covering natural disasters. Hey, what's up, Kitty? Hope that you are doing fantastic as well. Albie-tastic, who was actually our top chatter last week. The most chats out of anybody here in terms of just interaction in the stream. So thank you, Albie-tastic, for that. I hope that you are doing fantastic today as well. So as we slide into this, very first thing that I want to mention, of course, is Get Business Credit. Says, thanks, Nick, for the channel review. We'll start making the changes. So that is coming from our members only live stream that we did in our members only Facebook group, where, I look at channels inside of that. So my pleasure. I'm glad that you found value in that. So as we try not to say that one too. Okay. So question number 2 is, RR Prime Time says they upload when they have time. The type of channel is a reaction channel for the moment. And the goal of the channel is to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And the question is, do mobile YouTubers not get as much recognition / views and subscribers as YouTubers who record on a PC? If no, then how do I expand my channel more? So here's the difference. When you have a computer, in terms of all of the plethora of different video editing options that you have available to you, you have, Camtasia, of course, you have Adobe Premiere, you have Filmora, you have Vegas, you have DaVinci Resolve, you have, I think, like Movavi might even have a desktop version. You have all of these different, video editing software. So you can kind of pick, the one that's best for you. And most of them will do a bunch of stuff to help you make your videos look pro. And of course, with a mouse and a computer, you can really fine tune things. However, if you're doing it on just your mobile phone and you're doing all your editing and all that stuff on your mobile phone, your edits might not be as slick until you get really familiar with doing it on your phone. If you're on a tablet, of course, it's a little bit easier, but your edits might not be as slick if you're doing everything on your phone, but they might be. I recommend that you try Video Leap if you're on an iPhone. If you're not on an iPhone, then give KineMaster a shot on your phone in terms of, just more robust software. If you are on a tablet, then in that case, I recommend that you give LumaFusion a try as well, because that's awesome for tablet editing. But in terms of your content, and if it has the potential to perform well on YouTube just because you're making everything on your phone, I have a video on my YouTube channel. And on that video, it says something like, 100,000 subscribers on a mobile device. And within that, the person that contributed to that video, they grew their YouTube channel within 10 months to over 100,000 subscribers using their iPhone with no microphone, anything like that, doing everything essentially on their phone. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you're not looking at the devices that you're using as a limitation. Now, I'm going to give you some quick tips. And just out of a quick question here, anybody that does do content on their mobile phone, if you are mobile only in terms of I'm shooting everything on the phone, I'm editing everything on the phone, like I'm doing everything on the phone. If that's you, let me know. Definitely let me know. Just because I want to see how many of you are in here. But basically, hey, Viper, Man About Tech, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. But basically, when you are doing all this stuff on your phone, it's really important to make sure that you're not looking at that as a limitation. Like I said, I have that video on my channel where he got over 100,000 subscribers, just using his phone. Mr. Beast got his first 100 or 250,000 subscribers, one of those two, on a mobile device. There's tons of channels that are getting tons of traction on their channels because they're not because they're on a mobile device, but because they're making good content, even though they're doing it on a phone. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you're just being very mindful about the content that you're putting out, and that you're just focusing on making sure that you're making an awesome piece of content for the people that are interacting with your videos, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the thing that makes people end up, responding well to your content, which makes you get more views, which makes more subscribers come in and things like that. In addition to that, another limitation that you might have is making thumbnails. So of course, if you have like Photoshop or something like that, you can get a little bit more extreme with your thumbnails, where on a phone, even though there's a lot of great apps for making thumbnails on your phone, it's just a little bit more complicated. And in terms of getting into the details and things like that, it might be just a little bit more rough. So because of that, you just want to make sure that, you're going the simple route in terms of like, hey, I'm not trying to do all this like fancy stuff just because it's going to clutter everything up and it's hard on the phone. So because of that, let me just go with something simple. And if you can, try to use imagery as much as possible so that you're not totally reliant on, graphics and, all this other stuff in your thumbnails. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we have Simply Small Engine Repair. What is going on? Hope that you are doing fantastic, and thank you for your second month here as a channel member. So the question says, how can you tell most chats like Albie? So I actually have a piece of software that I'm testing right now. So that will be available to the public here within the next, I would say, 60 to 90 days. If we really push it, maybe 30, but somewhere within the next 60 to 90 days, you are going to have access to that as well. So it's a piece of software that I'm testing right now. Let's see here. So next up, we have Ron's Trains and Things. What's up, Ron? Hope you're doing great, man. Says, had someone create a fake Facebook account just to defame me with my viewers. Talk about dealing with real haters. Yeah. So people will go overboard. Some people will go overboard for the sake of, trying to, hey, what's up, Tom? Tom Nash. Hope you're doing great, man. But yeah, some people will go overboard. Like some haters are more committed than other haters. Some are like, hey, I'm going to be a troll or whatever. But some people, they're not, they're not that fantastic, and they go overboard in order to, make everything, difficult for people, which is fine. There's those people out there, so it's totally cool. And to be honest, I do a little bit of trolling myself, on Reddit sometimes in terms of, not really trolling, but it's more like, just going in and giving contrasting, thoughts to kind of challenge people in some cases. I wouldn't say it's really trolling, but it probably comes across that way to them. But I'm not a troll. I'm not a troll, right? I'm definitely not a troll. Okay, so next up on the list here, we've got, we did prime time. So let me move over to the next question. So right here, we have It's Sam is the next channel that we are looking at, or the next, question that we're looking at says that it's a gotcha channel. It's a game, and the goal of the channel is to improve. And the question, any thumbnail tips? Absolutely. Such a great question. Who here wants to make better thumbnails for your YouTube channel? So when it comes to your thumbnails, is that couch for sale? Not sure which couch it is you're talking about. I don't have any couch in here. So I'm not sure what it is that you are, what you're pointing to for the couch. But in terms of thumbnail tips, so what you want to think about when it comes to your thumbnails is you just want to make sure, hey, what's up, Dr. Sten? You just want to make sure that the people that you are trying to reach can easily identify through your thumbnails that the content that you're making is for them. That's step one. Step number two is try to keep everything simple and focused, especially if you don't have design experience or anything like that. And the reason that you want to keep it simple and focused is because having a thumbnail with a bunch of stuff on it for the sake of having a bunch of stuff on it doesn't really do anything. However, if you have a thumbnail if you have experience on, like where an eye focuses on, so to speak, in a thumbnail, then in that case, then it's a little bit different because you can have a lot of stuff, but the thing that you want the viewer to focus on will be the thing that the viewer focuses on because you have that experience. But in most cases, when people are starting YouTube channels, most people don't have that. So because of that, I recommend that you start with trying to use imagery if possible. And what I mean by that is if you make any type of content that has anything to do with anything that isn't, anything where you would actually take a photo of whatever it is that you're talking about, or to use that photo to illustrate your idea, try that. And then if you can't get that to work properly, then in that case, that's where you can start, trying to add some text here and there and that kind of thing. But if you use text, you also want to make sure that you're using as little text as possible. A huge mistake. And, you can show a hand if you're, somebody that does this, but a huge mistake when people are putting together thumbnails for YouTube is they'll put text all over the place, and there'll be like these little tiny lines of text over here and this tiny line of text over here, and then this like big line of text over here. And what happens is the small text becomes pretty much unreadable on most of the places that YouTube's going to show your thumbnail. And it ends up cluttering the thumbnail and taking focus away from the thing that matters to the viewer. So what you want to make sure that you're thinking about when it comes to any text that you use on your thumbnail, think of focus word, okay? Write that down, take a note on that. Think of a focus word. And what I mean by focus word is if you have, let's say, 4 words that you're going to be using in your thumbnail, right? In that case, think to yourself, okay, which one of these is going to be the thing that's going to help the viewer, the potential viewer, relate most to this in terms of identifying this might be something that's important to them. And then you want to put as much attention on that focus word, or let's say you have 2 focus words, you want to put as much attention on that as you possibly can, because that is going to be the part that will grab their attention and help them identify that it's for them, right? That's the idea. So let's see here. As we keep on going through the list, we have, let's see here. PE4 Doer says the YouTube formula goes into iFocus a lot. Yeah, like that's just, it's design. Basically anybody that has any type of graphic design experience, you learn how to, use certain colors or, use certain lines in the way that everything's put together in the image in order, or the golden ratio, whatever it happens to be able to pull somebody's attention into a very specific thing in your thumbnail. So because of that, that's why, they talk about that there, because, focusing on the thing that's going to help the viewer identify that this is something that they're interested in, or something that would make them curious, or you're like, oh, wow, I wonder what's going on here. I need to see that. Like, that's what it is that you need to make sure that they are, that they're focusing on. If you don't do that, then what you're doing is you're making a graphic and you're putting that graphic up, but it's not effective, right? So focus helps make it more effective. And that's ultimately what we're all going for. Johnny Calbo says, well, changing my channel name from Johnny Calbo to Johnny Calbo in the Philippines hurt my channel? No. So that won't hurt your channel because, Johnny Calbo, when people are looking for that, you'll still come up with Johnny Calbo in the Philippines. So you'll be fine with that. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about name changes. The only way that it can hurt your name is, and I wouldn't even really call this a hurt, but if you have a check mark next to your name because you've reached the subscriber milestones and all that, then in that case, what can happen is when you change your channel name, then they actually remove that check mark, and then you have to go through the process again in order to get that check mark put back on under your real name, and they have to approve it and all that stuff. So you might lose it for just a little bit of time. Let's see here. As we keep on going through the list here, we've got Adventures with Time. Says, how should a small channel, 3,000 subs, just a heads up, like that might seem like a small channel, but 3,000 subscribers is a lot. And the amount of views that you've had to get in order to get that 3,000 subscribers is also a lot. So don't discredit what you've accomplished so far. Okay. But it says, how should a channel with 3,000 subscribers evaluate affiliate or other marketing proposals? I received some from companies that I've never heard about. I'd like to expand my income beyond ads. It's really smart. So when it comes to the affiliate side of things, who here does anything affiliate related on your YouTube channel, or who here does, just alternate monetization in terms of you monetize outside of ads? If that's you, just say me. If not, then you can just say no. But basically when it comes to affiliate marketing from your YouTube channel, what you want to think about is you're going to have a lot of people reach out to you over time, but not everybody's going to be a great fit for what it is that you're trying to do with your channel. Not everybody's going to be a great fit for your audience in terms of the things that you want to, spread awareness about. So because of that, anything that you promote as an affiliate, you want to make sure, and let me put this up on screen here really quick, because this is a really good question. And for people that are coming in, I want them to see this too. So basically what you want to think about is you want to think, okay, when these companies are approaching me, to promote their stuff as an affiliate, then, if I've thought about, that company, then in that case, maybe I want to sign up for their affiliate program. But if not, then in that case, research them, research their competitors, and try to figure out, okay, who has the best product here? Because when it comes to your YouTube channel, it's really important, if you are promoting anything as an affiliate, that you stand behind, same thing with sponsors, that you stand behind the people that you are promoting on your YouTube channel in terms of they have a great product or service. And the reason that's important is because you're going to have people that keep coming back to your videos over and over again. Not everybody, but you're going to have a decent amount of people that keep coming back to your content over and over again, over the course of, a month. They might not watch everybody's video, but they might watch, a few a month. And when you give somebody a recommendation from your YouTube channel to, go visit this website, go buy this product, whatever it is, if that person goes there and they have a bad experience, then what's going to happen is they're never going to trust what it is that you tell them again. So because of that, you want to make sure that the products and services that you recommend are things that you stand behind. That's why you want to make sure if somebody just reaches out to you, out of the blue, that's why you want to make sure that you do the research in terms of making sure that, that they're solid, just as a company, making sure that, that you look at like their Amazon reviews, that kind of thing, just to make sure that it's something that you are, that you'll be proud to actually, bring awareness to on your YouTube channel. In addition to that, when it comes to the affiliate options, there's not just like one lens to see that through either, because, like if they're reaching out, that's just one company, but most likely for the type of content that you make, there's probably a bunch of different companies that you can sign up as an affiliate for. So because of that, do a lot of research now and figure out like, hey, which one of these, products or services or whatever it is that I happen to be bringing attention to, which one of these would be the best fit for the people that I'm trying to, get my content in front of, which one of these products would add the most value to them. And then go with that one as an affiliate. And just as a heads up too, from an affiliate perspective, there's also a lot of times where companies, they will have an affiliate program, but it won't necessarily be public or it won't be obvious on their webpage. So because of that, if you are looking to see if a particular company has an affiliate program, then in that case, just go to Google, type in the company name and type in affiliate program or partner program. And one of those should lead you to their affiliate program if they have it. Now, when it comes to evaluating the other marketing proposals, same vein in terms of, if somebody reaches out to you to sponsor your YouTube channel, or they reach out to you because, they want to, work with you in some way on your channel, because that stuff works out in a lot of different ways. But if they reach out to you to sponsor your YouTube channel or sponsor a video, quick tip, the very first tip is that you want to make sure that instead of just doing one video, which sometimes, you'll end up doing that, but you want to try to take that one agreement and turn it into at least a small series. And a small series could be like 3 videos. You can level that whole thing up a bit by, kind of locking yourself into like a 3-month deal or a 6-month deal or a 1-year deal. And by doing that, that helps you continually bring attention to your audience about that product or service. And by doing that, there's going to be a certain amount of people that see that video, but those long-term agreements, they help in terms of bringing just a lot of awareness to the company. Plus, it also shows that you stand behind those people, that you're willing to, commit to them for that amount of time. And that also adds value to your audience, because then they can see like, wow, they continually bring this up. So this must be something that I should check out. And that allows you to be able to reach a larger percentage of your audience with, with that particular sponsor. So you want to make sure that you think about that as well. But when it comes to all of this stuff, marketing stuff as an affiliate or, doing any type of sponsorships, you just want to make sure what people are getting is solid. And if you just focus on that and think like, okay, does this add value to the people that I'm, reaching with my content? Then in that case, you'll be on the right track. Let's see. In addition to that, we are going to hop down here to Simply Small Engine Repair. Says, I think some companies try to scam YouTubers too, and they do. I have a video on my YouTube channel. If you look for it, if you just look for, if you go to YouTube search and you look for my name and you look for, what is it? It's something along the lines about like brands or scamming YouTubers or something like that. To just address this really quick, because I know there's a lot of new YouTube content creators in here. When it comes to people reaching out to you, there are tons of scams going on when it comes to, the brand thing. Like, for example, I'm sure a lot of you might have been getting emails. Like I'll show you this one here really quick. But a lot of you might be getting emails to where it's like, hey, I'm this person from, representing this company, and we are, trying to get in touch with you to give you this, whatever, these clothes or whatever the thing happens to be. But the unfortunate side, I'm not going to show it, but the unfortunate side is that that a lot of those are just scams. And what they're trying to do is get you to connect your account to their system so that they can get back-end access and take over channels and like that kind of stuff. So you got to be really careful. But in addition to that, some brands, they also look at YouTube content creators as a marketing tool, but they're not willing to pony up in terms of pay the content creator what they're worth. So as a new YouTube content creator, you might not be thinking that, hey, when I publish this piece of content, this is going to live on my channel indefinitely. So as long as my channel's there, this video can continue to get views over time. So it's not just about what I can produce in that first month. Like you're creating a piece of content that can drive sales to that company, for years to come. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're getting, compensated for that. But in addition to that, a lot of these places will try to lowball new content creators just because you don't know how to, do that sort of thing yet in terms of working with brands, and they'll lowball you. And you're just thinking like, hey, they're going to give me this, $50 or $100 product. And you're not thinking like, hey, I could have promoted something as an affiliate here instead of, working with them. I could have promoted something as an affiliate and created my own asset that will continue to drive sales for me over a long period of time. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're balancing out, like the deals that are coming in versus the things that you would be able to do on your own, and make sure that for the deals that are coming in, that it's worth it for you to make that content, because you're going to take a loss. If you could have, promoted something else long term, then you're going to take a loss for that. So just make sure that it's worth it so that you don't actually take a loss, right? That's the idea with that. And really quick, there's a super chat in here that I missed as well. A+ Russian says, how do I get more viewers to engage in the comments? Simply ask them. So instead of saying, hey, leave a comment, make it more interactive. So instead of saying, hey, leave a comment, do something in your video and ask them, hey, let me know what you think about that in the comments, or let me know the way that you would do it in the comments. Or, you open it up to where instead of saying leave a comment, to where they can go down there and it's like, okay, well, what do I comment about? Right. Then they got to sit there and think about that. But if you say, hey, this is the question, just like you see me do here in the live stream, like, hey, if you're a gamer, let me know. If you do this, let me know, that sort of thing. You basically build it up to the point of, here's a question. All you have to do, the only energy that you have to put out, is simply go down to the comment section and type your response to your response, or your response to that idea, right? So it could be, a short response, or it could be, like in your case, if you're teaching language, then, go down there. Hey, go down in the comments, let me know, other words that you would like to know, or other phrases that you would like to know, or, how to say these words in Russian or in English, or whichever direction that you're going. Just say, hey, just let me know down there, what words you're having trouble with, or the things that you would like to know most, and then start getting feedback from that. That will help your engagement, your comment section, but that'll also give you content ideas as well. So then you're kind of, doing the two birds with one stone thing. Next up on our list. So really quick, I'm not sure what the channel name is, so because I can't read it, but
welcome to the Nimminati.
Yeah, it's in Hindi there, and I apologize that I can't actually read what that says, but welcome to the Nimminati. So what you want to do is you want to go to nimminvip.com. That will redirect you to our members-only Facebook group. Once you're there, make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member on the way in when I go to add you there after the stream today. So as we keep on going down here, we've got okay. So I think Lee Scott, what's up, Lee? Hope you're doing great, man. Says, hey Nick, I'm a new channel teaching entrepreneurship through experience. I feel I'm providing valuable content, but can't get any traction because I've just started. Any tips? Yeah, Lee. So the very first thing that I want to tell you is, as a new content creator, it's really easy for us to, to publish content and expect views that you typically see on larger channels or people that just have more experience. And the reason for that is because before you started creating content for YouTube, you were a viewer, a civilian, I call them, but you're a viewer. And since you were a non-creating viewer, YouTube is just showing you content that they think you're most likely to respond to. And that's always content that's performing well for the platform, right? So because of that, when you see that content, it's like, wow, this one's got 1,000 views, this one's got 10,000 views, this one's got 100,000 views, and so on. Like, some of those are difficult milestones to reach. So when you're first getting started, you have to go through that learning curve of figuring out, okay, how do I make thumbnails that my audience responds to? How do I come up with topics that my audience responds to? How do I write titles in a way that my audience responds to? And once you get that, then you got to start working on, okay, when I'm making my video content, how are people responding to this content that I'm making in terms of when they're watching it? Where are they leaving? Where are they skipping to? What are they skipping past? You know, how many people are actually completing my video once they get to the end of the video? Are they clicking on my end screens? Like those types of things. But you want to make sure that you're going in and you're analyzing after every single video that you publish. After you started, you know, having some views come into it, you want to make sure that you're going in and you're analyzing every single video that you publish, because that video is going to leave clues for what you should do for the next video. And then you'll hit a point to where it's like, okay, you know, like I'm doing all of these different things, and sure, like my retention is getting better and all of that. But from a topic standpoint, maybe my retention hits this threshold to where it's like, you know, I can't get past it, or it's, you know, my retention is okay. But if I go and I look for my click-through rate coming from, you know, search or browse or suggested, then in that case, you know, my fail point might actually be there, not necessarily the video content itself, right? So you have to make sure that you go in and you're paying attention to your analytics so that you can, you know, adjust accordingly, you know, when you see how people are interacting with your content. But a few quick tips for you. From a content strategy standpoint, when you're first getting started, it's really good practice to leverage YouTube search. And the reason for that is because, you know, when you put out a piece of search-based content, then it's really easy to get people to click there because the people are looking for your content. And the win with that is for those people that are looking for your content. So in your case, it's, you know, you're teaching entrepreneurship. So you're trying to reach entrepreneurs or people that are wanting to be entrepreneurs. So because of that, you know, go and research. You can use TubeBuddy for this, but you go and research and figure out, okay, what types of videos can I make that are high search volume but low competition? And like I said, TubeBuddy will help you with this. But what videos can I make that are high search volume but low competition that I can get to show up in YouTube search, or that I can, you know, at least make an attempt to get to show up in YouTube search, and make some videos for YouTube search. Now, I'm not saying that every video on your channel has to be targeted towards YouTube search, because it doesn't, but you want to leverage YouTube search when you're first getting started. And the reason that's beneficial is because if you have a potential entrepreneur, somebody that's consuming entrepreneurial content enough that they are like, hey, I'm going to go look for some more entrepreneurial content to try to solve these specific, you know, problems that I'm having, then in that case, that person that's finding your content is most likely an ideal fit for your content. So if as soon as they start responding positively to your content, in addition to you getting views from that, there's a whole other thing that's happening on the back end of YouTube. And that whole other thing that's happening on the back end of YouTube is detecting how those people are interacting with your content. And if those people are watching your entrepreneurial content, they're watching a bunch of other entrepreneurial content, and they're responding to that content all in a positive way, YouTube's going to detect that, and YouTube's going to try to find other people on the platform that would also be a similar fit for your content based on how that user is positively interacting with your content. And the win with that is that's when you start getting, you know, more suggestions and things like that, more impressions, I should say, and other features, because YouTube starts testing your content against some of those people. And then if you can get those people to click and then come in and enjoy your content, then that's where the whole machine starts churning for you in your favor, because then YouTube is detecting, hey, these people that we're showing it to, they're responding positively to it. Let's show them more. Let's show it to more. And then that process is just kind of rinse and repeat, so to speak. So, you know, you want to make sure that some of your content is targeted towards YouTube search. And of course, you can target all of your content towards YouTube search. I know that's a successful thing. Like the foundations of my channel are built on that. But at a certain point, I started mixing it to where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start, you know, targeting, YouTube search, but I'm also going to make a lot of content that is made for recommendations. And the reason for that is because if you publish a video right now, and that's a search targeted video, and keep in mind, like, you know, if your video show up in search, they can still show up elsewhere on the platform. But when you publish a video right now, if it's targeted towards YouTube search for a specific term, let's say, you know, how to be an entrepreneur, right? Let's just say that's the thing in your case. Then what's going to happen is you're going to publish that video, and there's only a certain amount of people that are looking for that, right? That are actively going to YouTube search and saying, you know, hey, within the next 24 hours or 48 hours of the next week, there's only going to be a certain amount of people that are going there and looking for how to be an entrepreneur. So because of that, that video might do great over time in YouTube search. Just, you know, hey, you know, over the course of this week, I pulled this many views from search and so on based on that volume. However, when it comes to the recommendation features, the difference and why you want to make sure that you're considering the recommendation features is because if you publish a video today and YouTube, you know, shows it to the right people, and those people click on it and they respond to it well, and they keep doing that, then what's going to happen is you're tapping into a much larger base of people right away. And that's where, like, let's let's kind of back up here a little bit. So that's where if you were to publish that video to YouTube search, it might take you, a month or months to get several thousand views if you were just getting traffic from search. However, you could publish a video today, and if it performs well in the recommendation features, you'll get that same amount of views within the next, hour, within the next 24 hours, within the next day, because they're showing it to, to the right people, and those people are responding positively. So because of that, when you are making videos and you are targeting YouTube search, the real nutshell of that one, just to kind of, wrap up YouTube search in a nutshell, the idea is to look for a keyword or keyword phrase that has high search volume, low competition. Like I said, Tubebuddy will help you with that. But basically, when you are targeting a specific term in YouTube search, all you got to do is simply put the actual phrase that people are looking for. And then, so in your case, they'd be like, how to be an entrepreneur. But I'm going to guess that one's pretty competitive, so you might not want to go for that right away. But basically, if your phrase was how to be an entrepreneur, then you want to make sure that you have it there. You want to make sure that your video is about how to be an entrepreneur, because that part matters as well. But when you are doing that, you want to make sure that you also add compelling things to it, because you want to think, okay, I'm trying to get search traffic from this for the people that are looking for it. But once those people start responding well to it and YouTube starts testing it in other places on the platform, I got to make sure that I'm able to grab their attention too. So because of that, you want to think, okay, targeting YouTube search. However, I'm going to spend some time, if it takes me an hour or 2 hours to really workshop it out and come up with a great thumbnail and a great title in order to help me be able to optimize for overall discovery on the platform and not just one place, then in that case, what you want to do is you want to say, okay, this is why people would click on this in search. Now I need to think, when people are coming onto the platform and they've never, they've never seen your content, they didn't intend to watch your content in terms of, they came on to watch, like a Rick and Morty trailer, or they came on to, just kind of find something to watch, but they didn't have any intention of watching yours. You got to define why those people should click on what it is that you're making, right? The people that are a good fit, people that are wanting to be an entrepreneur, they're trying to figure out, how do I get started with this? If that's, the angle that you're going and the audience that you're going for, then you got to think to yourself, okay, for that person, that person I'm trying to reach, and this applies to everybody here, by the way, but for that person that I'm trying to reach, when they log onto YouTube, if they see my video on their homepage, or if they're scrolling through on their phone, right? They're scrolling through on their phone. What about this title and thumbnail? Because that's all they're making their decision on right there, because they don't know how awesome your video is yet. So out of this title and thumbnail and the topic, why would this matter to the person that I'm trying to reach? And what about this would make that person want to click, right? That's the approach that you want to take. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so next up on our list, we had a few more of these come in. So I'm going to go through these really quick, and then we're going to hop back into the forum. So next up, we have Moo Twins dropping the $9.99 super sticker there. Thank you for that. And they say, am I able to set up a mirrorless camera to a Shure MV7 mic for YouTube and Twitch content? That's a great question, and I really don't know the answer to that. I wish I could help you out there, but I'm not sure if you can actually plug that directly in, because you would need to go through an interface of some kind, and then you would need to take the signal out of the interface and into your camera. I've done that before with the Rodecaster, and I've done that with a Scarlett 2i2 before. But in terms of the MV7, I'm not sure, because this is a SM7B. I'm not exactly sure how those connect, but as long as you connect it to an interface, you should be able to take either a headphone out or a line out. I know with the Rodecaster Pro, this has the line out option. So does the Scarlett 2i2. You can take that line out and plug it directly into your computer or into your camera, and then that should do the trick. But like in terms of certainty, I'm going to lean on that should do the trick, but you might have to fiddle with it quite a bit. But I would definitely, look around YouTube or hop on Google to uncover that one a little bit deeper. Sorry, I couldn't be more specific there. Manchester Tech Guy says, hey, Nick, I just want to say thanks for doing these every week. I always have something to take away from each stream to improve my videos. Thank you for that. Thank you for the kind words. And, as this stuff, goes, as we, progress through the stream, I really encourage everybody here, especially because I know a lot of you are just getting started on YouTube. I really encourage you to, take notes on, some of the stuff, or at least have a notepad sitting next to you. Of course, you don't got to take notes the whole time, but just have a notepad sit next to you. And if there is anything that I mention that you're like, yeah, let me look at my channel for that, or let me try that, or, whatever, just take a quick note so that you can make sure that you have, those things fresh in your mind when you're, when you're putting your content out. Let's see here. Am I able to set up my Nick? Thank you. Simply Small Engine Repair. Urban Explorer Neil says, okay, I'm close to 10,000. So thanks, buddy, for the help. High five, fist bump to you, my man. Says, let's see here. But people still think my channel is about urban exploration, not van life stuff. I'm thinking of a name change. Do you have any thoughts? Okay, so group think here. I need your help, everybody. So crack your fingers, because we're gonna try to work through this with Neil. So his YouTube channel right now is currently Urban Explorer. Let me go ahead and pin this up on the screen. So his YouTube channel is Urban Explorer. It's been that way for quite some time. And he actually does van life content, but people keep, misunderstanding what he does. Does anybody here have any suggestions on what he could name his channel that would help? Like if you're going to switch it, maybe like Urban Van Life or, something like that. So then that way you get to keep the urban side of it and just swap out, explore into van life. That would be my recommendation. Or exploring van life or something along those lines. Of course, you got to do additional research like, hey, what's available on social and all that good stuff. But in terms of, just options from my brain, I would try to stick with the urban thing if that's something that you want to go for, or, just do like Urban Van Life or Urban Van Life Explorer. It's pretty long though. I would probably not do that. I'm just kind of spitballing with you here. But Van Life Explorer, I guess, would be something else in terms of a possible idea. But hopefully somebody will, say something creative here. Urban Van Explorer. Yeah, that's definitely Urban Van Explorer. Vans. Yeah, kind of mixing the two up there as well. Wook Life. That's a fun one. Van Explorer hyphen Urban Vans. That one's coming from Doug. Van Down by the River. Oh, love it. Vans Down by the River. Oh, that's great. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, Nayla? So as we keep on going here, just looking for additional urban recreation. That's a clever one there as well. Urban van recreation. Verban. That's good. That's even fun to say. Verban. Fantastic. That's a clever one there as well. Yeah, some good mixes here. So hopefully one of these, will work. Hey, thank you for the emojis there, Farron. It's all good. Thank you for hanging out. You don't have to, super chat or anything like that. I just appreciate you being here. And in addition to that, if you learn anything today, just make sure that you apply it to your channel. Oh my gosh, here you go. And this is right up your alley in terms of your humor, Neil. OnlyVans. Oh, it's good. I mean, it would be like Only Vans, but in terms of the reference, that would be fantastic. Vanning it up with Neil. Yeah, a lot of good suggestions. The Urban Van, Magic Flying Van Living. This is great. Oh, these are so good. Okay, Urban Wheels, also good. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that one. But if you do have any ideas for van related channel names, definitely go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. Urbanize is another one. We got Albitastic saying they like the OnlyVans as well. We got another fun one, the OnlyVans. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's available, but definitely a fun one there to play with. So the next question that we have here is from Normies to Nerds. Says, I'm a live stream channel, been wrestling with making vids for exposure. Is that worth it, or should I only do streams to cater to my audience? This is a fantastic question, and I recommend that you do make videos in order to work in the discovery side of YouTube. Of course, long form content by itself can end up growing a YouTube channel. But what you want to think about is okay, if I'm trying to accelerate this whole thing, and like, let's say in your case, I'm not sure if you're like playing games or what specifically. Oh, you're doing wrestling. Okay. So what I would do is I would make short form content that would be more discoverable if your live streams are long, so that, the people that are seeing that when they click on it, there's not as big of a commitment there in terms of like, hey, let's see what this is about. It's only 3 minutes long or 4 minutes long. I would definitely mix it up so that you have your live streams that are great in the moment. And then you have the video content that is made for the purpose of making a piece of video content that people will respond positively to, so that YouTube will show it to more people, so that more people will end up coming into your channel, watching those videos, subscribing, so that over time, some of those people end up sliding over into your live streams as well. Let's see here. Normies to Nerd says, took branding tips for you too, from you too. Definitely an upgrade. Yeah, and the only thing with the name, if you took that recommendation, is on the two part. Like once everything gets rolling, if it's not already, you might have people, reaching out to you to be on like podcasts and doing a lot of collaborations and those sorts of things. When you have the number 2 in there, you're going to have to always explain that. So one of the things that people typically do at the end of a podcast is they'll be like, hey, where can people find out, more about you, right? Where can people find more about you, or where can people find your YouTube channel? Then in my case, my problem that I have is I have to spell my name. So like I'll say, you just go to youtube.com/Nick Nimmin, and that's spelled Nimmin, just because, people spell it in a bunch of different ways. So that's my thing. But in your case, you're going to have to do it with the number 2. So it'll be like, hey, it's Normies to Nerds, but it's the number 2. So when you go, you want to actually look for the number 2, not TWO, not TOO. It's the number 2. So you're just going to have to, clarify that all the time. So it's not a bad thing per se, but when it comes to, the channel name, it's just something that you're going to just have to address from time to time.
Super chat.
Bruna Gazine, I hope I'm saying that correctly, says, I'm new. Welcome to YouTube. I have 4 videos, and 2 of them are ranking in 1st and 3rd place in search. The thumbs are great, but I'm not gaining views. What can be wrong? First, make sure that you go and you look at those videos that are ranking 1st and 3rd in incognito mode. Because if you're just looking at the little green number or the little number next to the tag, it doesn't matter what tool you're using for that. Those are based on your viewing. So what is happening there, if that is the case, then what's happening there is you are essentially looking at that number and you're like, hey, I'm ranking number 1st and number 3rd for this one. And when you go and you look through your YouTube account, then it might be 1st and 3rd because YouTube will cater search results based on the channels that people are interacting with. So for example, let's say that, if you watch tons of my content and you start looking for YouTube related things, then in that case, if my video would have ranked number 4, there's a really good chance my video is going to end up ranking like number 2 or number 1 if you typically respond to my content more than some of the other people that make content like me. So, and you should be doing that, by the way. You should be responding better. But basically, that's how it works. They cater some of that to, each viewer. But then there's that kind of the default stuff. That's why you want to look at it in default mode or in incognito mode so that you can see, how they're showing up there. But in addition to that, you could also be targeting things wrong. So one huge mistake that people will make is when they are using, these tools that are out there, like Tubebuddy, for example, or vidIQ, or, any of the other ones that are out there, what they'll do when they're doing the research is they'll put in like an entire title. They're not actually doing keyword research. What they're doing is they actually put in titles and they're researching an entire title. And when you put an entire title there, then of course the competition is going to be pretty much non-existent on just a very long title compared to like a keyword or a very specific keyword phrase. So because of that, in terms of you targeting that search, phrase, if you put your entire title in there, then you could have actually, went after, you could be approaching that part of it wrong. I have a video on my channel talking about how to get views with Tubebuddy. I've got another one coming soon, but with that one, I literally go step by step on how to use their keyword explorer if that's what you're using for search. But in addition to that, another thing that matters is the actual search volume. So let's say, for example, that you target a very long tail keyword. And what that means is you have your root keyword, which is basically like the one word, right? So it'd be like, cooking, as this in this example, or recipes or something like that. But then, as you keep on stacking on, you get more and more long tail. So for example, it'd be like, chocolate cake recipes. Then in that case, it's an actual keyword phrase. And then, as you keep adding on to that, it starts becoming long tail. So for example, if it was, chocolate cake recipes for diabetics, then in that case, you just made that extremely specific, which makes it's called long tail for those of you that are just getting into like the search stuff. But you basically just made it very specific because this isn't a cake recipe for anybody. This is a chocolate cake recipe specifically for diabetics. So because of that, you're making that extremely specific. And if you keep doing that, then you end up with just some, like random, title. And if you look for that title, of course, you might show up there. But if you are basically targeting a keyword or keyword phrase that is not that high in search volume, and you're so long tail that not a lot of people are actually searching for it, then in that case, it ends up working against you, because you might have some people trickle in over time, but there's not enough traffic or enough viewership for that at this moment in time to where people are actively looking for that a lot. So, so there's that. But there's another part of this. So right now you say that you're number 1 and number 3 in search. So that's good, because you're positioned there right now, as long as it's that way from other views as well. Not just, your account. But when you're there, what's going to end up happening in terms of if you're going to stay there or not is your video performance. So you want to, of course, pay attention to how people are responding to your videos in terms of click-through rate and watch time that you're getting from search. So in your YouTube analytics, you're going to be able to go into advanced mode there, go into your traffic sources for the specific video, and you'll be able to zero in on search. If you're trying to get search traffic, you'll be able to zero in there and see exactly how your videos are performing in search. Okay, so let's see here. It's Boss Lady Jones. What's up, Boss Lady Jones? Says, morning, Nick. Thanks for all you do. I'm new to YouTube. I'm a vlogger, but I'm struggling to make searchable content. Any tips? So if you're trying to make searchable content as a vlogger, then what you want to think about is there any places that you go that you could optimize your video around those places? For example, if you go to like this park in your area, or you go to some, popular place in the city, something like that. Is there anything like that that's going on? Is there anything that you're talking about in your vlog that you can kind of frame the whole video around? But one thing that I do want you to know is, yes, going after search for a vlog is great. But, in your case, a really heavy win for you is like, I'm going to target search, but I'm also going to put a ton of time into my thumbnail, of course, the video content as well, so that it performs well. But I'm going to put a lot of thought into my thumbnail and into my title, because what I want is, of course, for the people that are going to look for it in search, I want to come up with something there. But what you really want with vlog content is you really want people to respond to you from like the homepage and suggested videos. Like, you want to be able to grab their attention there while they're watching other vlog content. That's what you really want. But when it comes to search, though, just try to think to yourself, like, okay, any of the stuff that we're doing, any of the stuff that we're talking about in this video, is there any way that we can frame the entire piece of content around that? And typically, just as a heads up, vloggers, we actually have Benji Travis. He comes on here, quite a bit. He was actually here last week as well, but they have a really big vlogging channel, him and his wife. And he always gives, great tips in terms of, vlogging. But what you want to think about when you're going after search, though, is like, okay, if I'm going to target YouTube search, then my video needs to be about something that people are looking for. So look there and do your research before you make your vlog, so that you can kind of cater your vlog to that term, versus you make your vlog about this and then you try to shoehorn it in or force it into to a search into a keyword or a search phrase. Let's see here. As we keep on going, I am the worst. Let's see here. As we keep on going, let's see here. Check my chat. I want to know what you've learned. Let's see here. Still looking here. Okay. So next up on our list, we have Simply Small Engine Repair. Again, says, what is something you learned about YouTube and how to grow this week? Something new that you've learned this week. I would say nothing new this week. Sometimes basically when it comes to, learning new stuff, sometimes, I'll learn like a nice handful of things over the course of the week. Sometimes I'll go a few weeks without, anything like glaringly standing out. So in my world, in terms of, anything new about growing this week, no, like in terms of like the things that make videos perform, that is pretty consistent. And what it typically comes down to is it comes down to, how your content performs on the platform. Is it competitive or not? If it's competitive, and that's why we always talk about, learning your analytics, learning, your click-through rate, learning how, people are responding to your content. Because if it's competitive, then YouTube will show it to more people. If it's not, then of course that video is gonna not do that well. So because of that, you want to make sure that, your content is competitive. But in terms of what I've learned this week, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. If something, comes to me during the stream, then I'll mention it. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything that I've learned this week specifically. The Boss Lady Jones. Let's see. Okay, we got that one taken care of already. So as we keep on going through this list, we've got, you never know what you can do till you try. That is absolutely the truth. Good morning. Hope that you're doing fantastic as well. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the forum here since we got the super chats out of the way. Heidi Costume CEO, hope that you're doing great. Observer 101, nice to see you here as well. Magic Flying Potato, I said hey to you as well. Let's see here. Had anyone had another YouTuber call them out on a video I've had a few people do that to me. I've had a few people over time do that. And it's kind of hilarious because when they do it, they frame it around. It doesn't matter, what the channel size is. People were doing this back when I had, 30,000 subscribers. But people that call me out will always say things like, oh, he doesn't know what's going on anymore because he has a big channel, whatever, not realizing that I work with small channels or I help small channels, that sort of thing. So it's kind of hilarious for the people that do call me out, but whatever. They do their thing, I'll do mine.
Welcome to the Nimmin.
Salad Cream Boy, welcome to the Nimmin. Make sure next time you get the chance, go to nimminvip.com. That is our members only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in so that I can verify that you are a member, and I will add you as soon as the stream is complete. Okay, so let's see here. So as we keep on going, we have It's Sam says that they do a gotcha. Oh, we got Sam already. Hey Sam, we got you taken care of already. Let me go to the next one. So let's see here. Marcus Sapola says communication tips, multiple income streams is the goal of the channel. Question. Hey Nick, I sell OBS templates and a mini course on how to use them. A few weeks ago, you suggested I move the sales page from Buy Me a Coffee to a dedicated e-commerce platform. I chose Thinkific, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive. What are some great strategies for increasing course sales? Maybe put 1 or 2 modules for free on YouTube. So typically, if you're doing a course, there's a few different things that people will typically do that are successful. One is, of course, driving people into free webinars that you end up ultimately selling your course at the end. So even though that one comes across as kind of like, hey, I thought you were going to give, this free stuff. But then you have this pitch at the end, even though there's a lot of people that, look at it that way. Those are extremely effective. Those are extremely effective in terms of ways that you can drive sales to your course. In addition to that, of course, just thinking from a funnel perspective, like, okay, what can I offer that people can sign up to as an email list, or I can continue to add value there to them, but also I can continue to let them know that I have this course available to them. In addition to that, you also have the thing, I'm not a fan of this, but it's also effective. And that's the scarcity thing, to where, you open the course up for a certain amount of time and it's like, hey, we're only taking, people during this period of time, and then it gets closed down. And then, a month or 2 later or 3 months later, it'll end up, popping back up, hey, we're taking, submissions again, and then they'll close it back down. That's also something that has proven to be extremely effective for people. I'm not a fan of that unless the person behind the course is actually, working with the creators through a process, or not creators, but just the people. So like if it's entrepreneurship, if it's, editing, if it's whatever the thing is, like for whatever it is that you're trying to do, when people are, do that kind of thing, if they're actually working with their customers, then it makes sense. But if they're not, I'm just not a fan of that whole model, even though it's extremely effective. So next up, we've got Shark Scrapper. Shark Scrapper says they've been on YouTube a year or more. They do education content and the edutainment content. The goal of the channel is to promote scrapping and recycling, educate people new to the industry, and make some moolah, some money. And the question is, over 30% of my watch time is on TV, with computer and mobile each between 25 and 28. Wow, that's actually interesting. So I've been posting in 1080p, but considering going to 4K to enhance TV experience, is it worth the additional processing, load times, etc.? Any negative impact to my mobile viewers? Thanks. Keep up the great work. So if I was in your case, if I was in your shoes, I mean, this is why I upgraded to 4K, right? And I upgraded to 4K. I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. And I was like, you know what? I'm, like it's not necessary. Most people are viewing on phones, blah, blah, blah. Not as many people on TV, so on. But at the end of the day, when you can kind of future-proof that way, you can create that better experience for the people that are interacting with your content. If I had your channel, absolutely, I would upgrade to 4K, and I would just start using 4K from this time forward. That's what I would do. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we have Jerry Pepandria. What's up, Jerry? Hope you're doing great, man. Says they do food reactions and recipes. Goal of the channel is to build a community around food. Little Thai language for you guys. So food in Thai is ahan. That's food, ahan. So here, the goal of the channel is to build a community around food. And the question, I've been seeing videos I just fully watched and suggested in the homepage the last 2 weeks within 2 hours of watching. If I scroll by, is that going to hurt the CTR of that creator? also is this happening for many other viewers? YouTube is constantly having issues like that. They always have, they always will. There's, you know, the system is huge. They're bouncing all this stuff off of CDNs, content delivery networks all over the planet. And because of that, you're going to run into that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it's an impression, then it's definitely going to, you know, if it's an impression, you don't respond positively to that impression in terms of clicking on it, then yeah, that one impression will impact, you know, that's just one negative point for that person. You could have been the last point for them to stop showing it to people or showing it to people like you. But, you know, if you've already clicked on it and you've already watched it, YouTube also is aware of that as well. Let's see here. Infotech, you definitely will. Observer 01 says 4K is thumbs up. Absolutely. Let's see here. Next up, we've got Salad Cream Boy. Says excited to be part of the Nimminati. I share my content on my own social media to no avail. Why does this seem to be a bad thing to do for YouTube channels? It can be good if the audience itself is a perfect laser targeted fit. And what I mean by that is if the people that you're sharing it to in terms of your own social media, like let's say you share it out on Twitter, if those people are people that are, you know, most likely to engage in your content and not just come over and watch it for a little bit because they want to support you, but actually watch your content, enjoy your content, make it all the way in, watch more of your content and all that, then in that case, you know, it's not a bad thing. But one thing that you just have to be really careful of is like when you are publishing content, I recommend that you let YouTube do its thing first in terms of recommendations and all of that, then and then promote it out to your social media accounts or any groups that you share it in or subreddits that you share it in or anything like that. And the reason for that, you know, same exact thing, like if you have email lists and that sort of thing, unless the viewers there are laser targeted. So like, for example, you hardly ever see me sharing my stuff out onto Twitter. If I do share it out onto Twitter, just a little side tip for you, instead of actually embedding the video there where people can watch it on Twitter, I'll put a thumbnail in a lot of cases, unless I'm feeling lazy that day. But I'll put a thumbnail there and I'll put a link, right? So I'll sell it a little bit in the actual, you know, in the actual tweet, and then I'll put a link to it, but I'll put the thumbnail there so that the only way that they're going to interact with that content is going to be on platform instead of them actually interacting with it on Twitter. So I recommend that. But in addition to that, though, you know, if you're going to share your stuff in any Facebook group, Facebook pages, if you have a Facebook page, if you're going to share it in any subreddits, anything like that, you just want to make sure that the people there are a great fit for what it is that you're doing. And one thing for anybody here, who here shares your content out into social media when you first publish your videos? If that's you, just say me, because I'm going to give you a tip here. Just so you can get an idea of how effective it is, because view counts are one thing, but a view count doesn't necessarily represent a good experience with what's going on. So because of that, I'm just going to give you a quick tip. Okay, so we got a few people coming in on this. Hey, Martin, what's up, man? Hope you're doing great. So when it comes to sharing your content out into social media, if you go into your YouTube analytics and you go into your traffic sources, you know, per the video or, you know, as the channel as a whole, one of the things that you're going to find is you're going to go into your traffic sources. You'll be able to see external. Once you click into external, you're going to see, you know, Facebook or Twitter or, you know, Google or, you know, wherever it is that your content's going out. But the places that you're sharing or the platforms that you're sharing, you're also going to see them. So what you want to do there is you want to go and see your watch time. So you want to see, you know, hey, when somebody comes here from Facebook, how much time on average are they spending on my video? If it's high, then in that case, you know, hey, that's probably a good fit for what it is that you're doing. If it's low and you find that, hey, people are clicking on this from Facebook, I'm getting the views, but they're actually only staying here for like 30 seconds out of a, you know, 15-minute video, then in that case, you know, you probably want to stop sharing into that particular Facebook group. And so what you want to do is you want to go and you want to look in your analytics to see specifically how people are responding from the places that you're sharing. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, let's see here for the counters. Let's see here. Oh, fun. Okay. Lee Scott says they do entrepreneurship content. Lee Scott gave a super chat here earlier as well. The goal of the channel is to help people start and succeed in business. Says, how can you gain traction as a new channel? I feel I'm providing valuable information, but just can't get it out there as a new channel. So even though we talked about this a little bit, you know, in your super chat, another thing about being a new content creator that you have to remember is that when you're first starting, YouTube doesn't have tons of information on your channel yet in terms of the people that are responding positively to it. So it might take a little bit of time depending on, you know, how highly people respond. If you publish a video, your very first video, and YouTube just tests it against people that they think is a good candidate for it. And those people respond, and they respond positively. They watch your video all the way to the end. They share it. They click on your end screen. Well, I guess you wouldn't have another video at that time, but they're sharing your video out. They're commenting, they're liking, they're subscribing to your channel, all of that. That very first video can end up doing great, right? So you don't have that limitation. However, the difficulty is when you are, publishing content on a regular basis, and YouTube is still trying to, identify like, hey, this piece of content here, based on the metadata and the content that's inside of this video, this is what the system is not anticipating, but this is what the system is identifying that this video might be about. Therefore, it has to look on the platform to identify who might be a good candidate for it. And then they look to see who might be a good candidate for it. They end up testing against those people. And then if they respond positively or not is going to be that moment to where it's going to be like, hey, this is going to continue to see more people, like a much higher amount of people, or it's going to end up not seeing that many more people, right now. It might end up doing better in the future, but for right now, that's what's going to go on. So because of that, when you're first getting started, it's really important to make sure that you are focusing on, I'm going to publish this video, and I'm going to see how people are responding to this video. I'm going to see how they're responding, not just to the video content and the audience retention reports, but I'm going to go into the audience retention reports, look at my absolute retention, which is how people are responding to my videos second by second. I'm going to look at relative audience retention as well, which you can select from the dropdown. Relative is going to tell you how people are responding to your content compared to other similar other content of the similar length on the platform. You also want to make sure that you're looking in your stats for your thumbnail as well, for the different traffic sources, to figure out where your click-through rate is coming from and how people are responding from different traffic sources, so that you can make sure that, for example, if you have a higher click-through rate on your channel, you might find out, if you actually dig into the traffic sources or on a video, you might find out that, a decent amount of those clicks are actually coming from like a channel page. And it's like, okay, well, no wonder it's good, because then those people that are already interacting are the ones clicking on it. Or maybe they're coming from like, your subscriptions page, which is okay. But if you find that just in on like home pages and suggested, if you find out that, there people just aren't responding well to it, or in search, then in that case, you got some work to do. So that's what you want to think about when you're doing this. But at the end of the day, just focus on trying to make each video better than the last one, come up with a better topic than the last one, come up with a better thumbnail than the last one, and just rinse and repeat that process over and over again. And really quick too, since you're just getting started, I'm going to pull up your channel here. I'm just going to take a quick look because I just want to see what it is that you're doing. Okay. Yeah. So your thumbs are simple, all of that good stuff. So yeah. So in your case, like you had, you've had one video got like 390 something views on it. So, that's okay. But one thing that you want to do is that video that got 390 something views on it, which seems to be the biggest one in your channel at this moment in time, dig into that video. Look at the retention, look at the click-through rate, think of the topic and why that mattered to people. As you're looking through your audience retention, think to yourself, okay, for the people I'm trying to reach, like, what do I think, caused them to watch longer? What did I say in the beginning of this video? What was I showing at the beginning of this video? What specific information did I take them through? How fast was I talking in this video compared to other videos? What was I showing? In terms of me, how was I communicating? What was my audio like? What was my lighting like? Like look at everything on that video compared to some of the other videos that you are, that you're putting out. One thing that I can tell you right now is you have that one is like find a mentor in your thumbnail. And that by itself is much more clear than just a big block of text that says costly mistakes that doesn't really add any context. Because with that one, the costly mistakes, that has to grab their attention enough to actually fall down to your title, for them to, explore that any further. So any tips for fitness channels? Absolutely, Betty Armis. So when it comes to fitness channels, of course, how-to content is going to be a huge win for you. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you are making that how-to content in terms of, you're targeting, search with that how-to content, but also really focus on like before and after type stuff and, very specific results-based things if you can, for the sake of making sure that you can illustrate that in the thumbnail, like, from this to this, right? Divide the screen in half, so to speak. And it's like, from this to this, how to lose, belly fat, within the next, 90 days or, stuff like that. And then show like a before and then an after, like those types of things. So those typically perform well. Also, you want to make sure that you're not polluting your video with a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. If somebody's coming into your fitness content and they're coming into that because they want to learn about fitness, I'm not saying that you're doing this, but just in case you are, if they're coming into your content, they're trying to learn how to get in better shape. They don't care about logo intros. They don't care about that kind of thing. Like, they care about like learning how to get into better shape. So because of that, don't pollute your video with things that are not relevant to what it is that they're coming in there for, right? Share your personality, that kind of stuff. That's perfectly fine. But in terms of, having these big, long logo sequences, that's really popular in fitness content, just like it is in the gaming world. So, you want to avoid those sorts of things so that you can make sure that you're getting people into the stuff that they care about. So just make sure that you're doing that. In addition to that, though, when it comes to how-to content, you want to make sure that you're breaking up from your content strategy standpoint. You want to make sure that you're making how-to content that is directly for YouTube search. Of course, you want to make sure that you are, going after things that have a high search volume but low competition. Tubebuddy can help you figure that out. But in addition to that, you also want to, I call them a Hail Mary, like when you're first, starting to, try this, you want to make sure that that you're also considering, like, okay, sure, there's YouTube search, but if somebody that is interested in fitness were to log into YouTube, what could I come up with topically that person would be like, oh yeah, I got to see what's going on here. How could I illustrate that topic through my thumbnail in a way to where when they see that and they're like, oh yeah, this is an interesting, topic, and it's being displayed, in your thumbnail. How is that going to grab their attention? And then once they fall down to your title itself, then the same exact thing. Like, how can you do it in a way that's going to grab attention no matter where it is on the platform they see your content, not just in YouTube search, okay? Because both of those things are important in terms of like content strategy. Like, I'm making these for search, but of course they'll get traffic from elsewhere. But then also I'm going to try to just go with something where I'll include like a keyword maybe, but I'll include a keyword. But what I'm really trying to do is grab attention with this thumbnail and with this title and pull people into the fitness content that way. Let's see. So next up on our list, we've got the Simply Small Engine Repair. Says friends and family are the worst subscribers. They are. They definitely are. So, the thing is a lot of people will try to get their friends and family and everybody to subscribe. But the downside of that is, if those people aren't interacting with the content, then YouTube is going to end up showing their content initially. Eventually they'll stop, right? But initially they'll end up showing your content, to them, and they won't respond to it, and that's definitely not a good thing. So let's see, our YouTube vlogger struggling. Okay, Vita Armonia, thank you for the super chat. Generico NJ says, as a new YouTube content creator, how many videos a week should I be posting? This is a great question. How many people here are confused? And you can just say me. How many people here are confused if you're just getting started? Like, how many videos should I be putting out? If that's you, just let me know here in the chat. But basically, when you are putting out content as a new content creator, I have a handful of things that I want to share with you here. The very first being that when you are a new content creator, you're having to balance a lot of stuff. So me, because I do this full time. So for me, when I'm making videos and I'm doing, all the YouTube related stuff, like, it's pretty easy for me. Like, if I wanted to put out, a video every other day, I could do that relatively easy. I could fit that into my lifestyle. Technically, I could do it on a daily basis too. But as a new content creator, if you're not doing this full time, then you have, your life, you have your social life, you have your job, you have your YouTube channel. So you want to make sure that you're putting out content at a pace that is sustainable. Somebody gave me this advice that was very experienced, and I didn't take that advice, and I ended up burning out on YouTube. So I'm telling you the same exact thing. Make sure you're putting out content at a pace that is sustainable. So if you can work it comfortably into your life to publish, a video a week or 2 videos a week, then publish 2 videos a week. And the reason that you want to look on the higher side than the lower side, in terms of 1 versus 2, is because if you publish 1 video per week, you have 52 chances per year to learn how to make better videos, to get data from people and see how they respond to what it is that you're doing, and make changes in order to make better stuff. If you double that, then of course, you double the potential results of what it is that you're doing, because you're going to learn faster. You're going to be making content more. Your editing's going to get better faster. How you put your content together, like everything is going to happen faster if you're publishing more content. But you don't want to publish so much content that you're so busy making and publishing content that you don't have time to pay attention to what's happening on your channel in terms of how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. So what I recommend is that you do this. Say, okay, I'm going to publish 1 video per week. I'm going to commit to that. After I publish 1 video a week, I'm going to do that for, let's say, the next 30 days. And I'm going to see how comfortably that fits into my lifestyle. And then If that fits comfortably and I think I can take on another video, then I'll publish twice a week and I'll see how that fits into my lifestyle. And then if you want to, if you're like, you know what, I think I can squeeze a third one in here, then in that case, if you're like, going for it, then in that case, if you have that extra time to throw in a third piece of content, still be able to make great content, still be able to analyze everything that you're doing, then in that case, go ahead and throw that third video in there too. But the more that you publish, the more chances of videos taking off that you have. But in addition to that, the faster you're going to learn and the faster YouTube is going to learn who is a good fit for your content for YouTube, and the faster you're going to learn how to do all the YouTube related stuff. Let's see here. Chubby Bots, what's going on? Hope that you're doing great. Let's see here. So traveling, traveling man Las Vegas. So the travel to Vegas for content. I can't financially afford it till October. Almost 600 subs, trying to get monetized. Commentary, any commentary videos don't do well. Thanks. Okay, so I think what you're saying is that you need to put content out, but you are not going to be able to get to Vegas to make more videos until October. So if that's the case, then that's fine. You can take the break too. You could talk, you could put out commentary content for the sake of just putting out some commentary content, just, to keep the people that are most engaged in what it is that you're doing, keep them involved. Or you could do highlights, like, hey, these are my favorite or my biggest wins. If you're doing, the win, where you're playing, games and all that, and you're getting the winnings. You can also do, mashups to where, hey, these are, my top biggest wins of 2021. These are my top biggest ones this year. These are my top biggest, these are my biggest wins for this particular machine. These are my biggest wins for this particular machine. Like those sorts of things to where you make mashups out of content that you already have. And then that'll give you, a little bit of burn time between now and October. Let's see. Simple Small Engine Repair says.
Superchat.
I need like a survey says button. Says, what are some good editing practices for better video pacing? A few tips for recording and editing would help. Thank you so much for your knowledge. So when it comes to, let's start with the recording process, because that Brian G. Johnson in the house. What's up, Brian G? Hope that you're doing fantastic, my man. So Brian G, I think, is going to be coming on the stream here a little bit later, which is awesome. So I'll see you here in a bit, Mr. Johnson. But basically when it comes to, so 9, 10. Yeah. So basically when it comes to recording, so depending on the content that you're making, you might find it easier to be able to record in clips. So typically, if you're just talking directly to the camera, recording in clips is a good practice because it makes editing really easy. Because when you're editing, you can just go through and you can look at the clips and you can say, okay, I started this one the same, started this one the same, started this one the same. This one's different, which means that, it's a new clip or a new thing that I'm talking about. So I'm going to back up one. And that's going to be the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to pull that into the software. Some editing software has like an autoplay where you can just tap it and you can actually, just let it play directly in your editing software, which is a bigger win. And it speeds everything up. But in addition to that, when you're recording, you want to think about the edit as well. So like, for example, like when I'm making videos, just to kind of, share a little bit about how I do it on my end. When Weefy says, OMG, Brian G with a blue heart. That's what I'm talking about right there. But like when I'm recording, I should say, like one thing that I do in my communication is like, when I'm recording, like I'll say whatever it is that I'm saying. And then like, if I end it on like a high tone, then in that case, I'll try to match that high tone and bring it back down. Or if I'm trying to, make more of a jarring jump from, one clip to the next, then in that case, I might end it high and fast. But then, I'll come into the next clip a little bit slower and a little bit lower for the sake of just creating a little bit of contrast so that hopefully your brain will be like, hey, there's things are changing here, right? So in addition to what it is that you're seeing on screen, then how I'm actually communicating is also, being modified as you go through the video. So when you are, recording, just think of things like that. What I mean by a high tone is, let's say, for example, if I'm making a video, like let's say that I was talking about thumbnails. Then in that case, I might say something like, so because of that, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're putting on your thumbnail, that it's just super big, crystal clear, and easy to read, right? That actually kind of brought me kind of in the middle. But then the next clip, right, because I would end it there, then the next clip might be something like, because if you can't grab somebody's attention, then they're never going to click on the video. right? So then in that case, what I did is I kind of brought it in kind of higher in the middle actually with that one. And then, I kind of slowed it down, lean in a little bit, and come in a little bit lower on the next clip. So then that way, it just kind of keeps everything kind of moving along that way. And it kind of shakes your brain up as you're going through the, as you're going through the video. In addition to that, when it comes to the edit itself, you also want to make sure that you are editing in a way that's appropriate for the people that you're trying to reach. I actually mentioned this in a recent video, but what you want to think about is when, if you're trying to reach a younger crowd, then, then videos can be pretty intense in terms of the edit. If you're trying to reach an older crowd, like let's say you're going after like 50 plus, then in that case, a much slower video is perfectly fine. A little bit faster because, you still have to keep them entertained. And you still have to keep them paying attention, but you can kind of slow things down a little bit compared to if you're going after people that are like, let's say like 13 to 18 in comparison. So you want to make sure you're thinking about that. In terms of recording, another thing that is beneficial, of course, is just making sure that you are approaching it with some type of plan. So typically, people will script out videos or they'll, run bullet points or they'll freestyle. So just pick out whichever one's best. But if you are freestyling, like let's say, because you're doing small engine repair, so you're literally taking people through a process. So because of that, what I would do is I would think, okay, through this process, what are the things I'm going to be showing these people, right, that are coming in and watching this video? And as I'm taking people through this process, are there any notes that I need to take along the way to make sure that I'm structuring this properly to fully take people through the process? And more importantly, to make sure that I'm going to be able to get all the shots that I want for this video. So for example, when you are publishing or when you're putting your videos together, I should say, you have all of this recorded footage to work with, right? So what you have to think about when you're actually recording the content is, if I know when I'm repairing a small engine that I'm going to be, taking this off and fixing this, I'm going to be bringing attention to this type of thing, before you start taking everything apart, like go in and get some footage, some close-up footage of some of the things that you're talking about, your finger pointing to them, that kind of stuff, so that you can have that sort of stuff in your edit as you're taking things apart. And this, starts making the recording process a little bit longer, but it ends up making for a better piece of content. But once you start taking, everything apart, then in that case, have, bring your camera in, get some close-up shots, same exact thing. So when you're showing something, you're not that repair guy that is, back here to where it's like, and this is the button that you want to press on the remote control. You want to make sure that this one right here is the button that you want to press on this remote control. Like, you don't want to be that person, right? You want to be this person. This is the button that you want to press on the remote control, this one right here, right? That's the person that you want to be, because then everything is just clear. It's easy. You know what I mean? It's easy for them to understand. So you just want to make sure that you get those shots. In addition to that, on the editing side, one thing that is typically good practice is that you go through and you do a pass. And what that means is you go through and you do anything where you're like talking and you're getting, the information out. You go through that. That's number one, right? And as you are going through that, you're cutting out ums and ahs and, all that stuff that, doesn't add any value to the video. And you're also going in there with a machete and you're like, hey, does this add value in terms of, does this really add to the experience the viewer's going to have with this in terms of their understanding or whatever it is that they're doing? The answer is yes, keep it. If the answer is no, don't be so committed to your own video that you're just going to keep something in there because you recorded it. Be very brutal when it comes to your edit and think to yourself, okay, if this doesn't add value, then I'm going to kick it out. If this doesn't really add anything to the video on the entertainment side or on the educational side, in your case, then, then take it out and be okay with that. But you do that first pass. First pass is where you're cutting all of that stuff down. And then once you have that and that, then that's where you go in, you start adding all your B-roll, things like that. And then you go through and you do a final polish. And then within that final polish, maybe you want to process your audio, go through and level out your audio. You can do this in software like Adobe Audition, for example, or if you're using something else, maybe you just need to go in and look at the waveform to where you see like, hey, we have the, the waveform of the audio, and I've got some really big spikes like right in here. Like these clips are way louder than these other clips. Go in there, use a volume envelope, and just go in there and just turn those clips down, right? So you just kind of have, kind of an even experience, throughout the video in terms of the volume. So you want to make sure that you are, you're doing that as well. Let's see here. And there's other stuff that you can do too, like depending on the way that you want to edit. So for example, some things that people will do sometimes is when they're cutting from one clip to another, they'll have the audio kick in just a little bit before that next clip starts. And then that kind of just makes everything move super fast, you know, those sorts of things as well. All kinds of fun things that you can do in the edit. Let's see here. I'm going to, oh, you know what? I'm seeing it on my side, but it looks like they're getting that they're getting hit on the YouTube side. That's funny. Okay, so we will keep on going through that. So let's see here. Press that button. That remote button. That's what I'm talking about.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So let's see here as we keep on going down our list. So next up, we got Vegas already taken care of. We got the editing best practice. Manchester Tech Guy says, all my videos are product-based reviews and first impressions. What are your thoughts on branching out into tech news? I think that's fine. Like, as long as you're talking about tech in the specific type of tech that you are unboxing, then I think it's great. Because then in that case, that's just one other type of content that you're putting out on the channel. But as long as it's still a great fit for the people that you're trying to reach who are interested in tech, then that's fine. So like, for example, a good use case of this would be, like, if all of your content is about like Apple devices, and then you have like a tech news segment that you do like once a week or once a month or whatever, that's a wrap up of what's going on in the Apple world, then in that case, it's a great fit for those people because it would be a great experience for them. However, if your tech content is, I'm going to make this video about a smart washing machine, I'm going to make this video about an iPhone, I'm going to make this video about an Amazon Alexa, and then I'm going to make this video about like a Samsung watch or something. And then you have like a weekly tech roundup. The audience might, or a weekly or monthly, news roundup. The audience may or may not be a great fit for that, because you're going to be pulling in people that, might just be searching for, like that TV, review, so they can make that decision to actually purchase it or not. They're not necessarily like a fan person. They're just, like, hey, I'm just trying to get some information on this TV or this washing machine or whatever it is. So if you have a bunch of scattered content like that, but it's not really that focused, then in that case, you might want to consider not doing the tech news. But if you want to figure it out in terms of how people respond to it, then by all means, just test it. Like when you have these questions, like what you want to do is you want to think, okay, for what it is I'm trying to do on my channel, do I think this would be a good fit in terms of, what I'm trying to accomplish goal-wise with the channel in terms of what it is that you're doing your content for? And if the answer is yes to that, then of course, just experiment with it and then see how the audience responds to it. So like, for example, if you're like, hey, I'm going to try this and I'm going to give it, like, let's say 3 to 5 times, I'm going to, give this a shot and I'm going to see how people respond to it. Then in that case, try it, and then you'll get direct feedback from your audience on if they like it or not over that series of videos. Tubebuddy says, yours and Roberto Blake's live streams are really insightful. Just want to say thank you. Tubebuddy, thanks to you for the kind words, and thank you for the super chat as well. Massively appreciated. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Thank you. Simply Small Engine Repair says, do you have a McDonald's near you? Actually, we do. Yeah, we actually have a nice amount of McDonald's. I think it's pretty hard. If you live on Earth these days, I think it's pretty hard to not be somewhere in proximity to a McDonald's. Like, I've been in some pretty remote places that have had McDonald's. So yeah, we definitely have McDonald's. We got Starbucks, down the street. I can be at Starbucks within, it depends on traffic and whatnot, but I can be at Starbucks within like 15 to 25 minutes from where I'm at. So I'm kind of out in the boonies. Let's see here. Click it and buy a ticket. Oh, nice. Nice. I remember that from last year. So good. Okay. Next up on our list, Scott and the Kid says, just want to say that I appreciate all of your help. You give useful advice. Thank you, Scott and the Kid. Thank you, both of you. Appreciate it. So let's go back into the forum here to keep this whole party moving right along. So next question that we have on our list is from Simply Small Engine Repair. They have a repair channel. The goal is to show people at home that you don't have to have a fancy pants tools to repair your own outdoor equipment. That's good. Question: does leaving genuine questions on channels help you get subscribers? I know there's a lot of people that have thousands of subs with no videos, just comments. I even know one that hit 100,000 subscribers. Just want to know your thoughts. So technically, yeah, but when you look at some of those channels, you also have to consider that it's possible that they had content, but they took it off. or that it got deleted, or something like that. Because, sometimes, channels will get hacked, those sorts of things. You also have to look at it from the perspective of there's a lot of ways to have, I won't say a lot of ways, but there's ways to have 100,000 subscribers without any content. And that would be having another channel that you tell people to go follow. That's one. Two is you run ads for that channel just to inflate the numbers, not expecting anybody to ever interact with it. Three, you buy them, which is something you do not want to do under any circumstance because it's against the terms of service, against the community guidelines as well. And there's no real benefit to that. But then there's the side of like, hey, I'm going to, leave comments on these, channels and subscribe, or on these channels and hopefully get some subscribers. In terms of if you should do that or not, when you're interacting on YouTube, you should interact for the sake of interacting. When you're leaving comments for the sake of like, hey, I hope somebody sees this and comes and subscribes to my YouTube channel, that is one of the lowest things that you can do in terms of, not morally, but lowest effort things that you can do, or lowest result, I should say. In terms of the amount of time that you're going to spend going to these channels, leaving a comment, going to another channel, leaving a comment, versus the return that you're going to get. That's like the worst thing that you can do with your time. Your time would be better spent watching TV if you're trying to use that as, and I know you're not using it as a way to grow your channel, but I'm just saying, for the people that do this, because there's some videos on YouTube that tell people to actually do this as a way to get, to grow their channels. But the idea is that you just want to make sure that you're not interacting with the platform for the sake of trying to get people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, because that's just like the worst way that you can spend your time out of all of the other things that you could do to try to move yourself forward with your channel. Like that time is spent just better watching TV, or going into, doing something YouTube related, like going into your stats, or, spending time watching videos about, design or how to properly use imagery, or, something like that. Yeah, it happens here too. So basically one of the things that happens here is there'll be people that will come in here and they'll call their channel like YouTube, this, that, or the other thing. And then they'll come here and they'll hang out in the live streams and stuff like that as well, hoping that, some people will see their channel name and then you'll go over there and subscribe to their channels. Some people, try to do that here as well. Same thing in the comments. When we detect it, then in that case, and unless I look and I'm like, hey, they're actually doing some pretty cool stuff. But if they're not, then I'll usually end up shadow banning those people from my channel, to where I'll just hide them from the channel and they don't know it. But other people can't see their stuff. And I, can't see their stuff, but they still see it. But I get that a lot here too. Let's see. We've got, next up on our list, we have Earth Central. Earth Central says they do geological and meteorological coverage. The goal of the channel is documenting natural phenomenon while saving lives. That's a serious mission right there. I love it. In today's society, it seems to be a major sin to benefit from a disaster. And as a channel like mine in the meteorology geology space niche, my channel tends to have a huge spike in traffic and revenue soon after major disasters. So how do I remove that stigma of benefiting from a disaster before it becomes an issue? Here's the thing is, if you are doing that type of content, you're going to have some people that are going to look at it that way, and you just have to kind of embrace it, because not everybody, like if you start spreading a message about like, hey, I'm just trying to help people out with this. If you start spreading that message, not everybody's going to see that message. The places where you spread that message, the people will see it. Maybe you put it in your channel art, maybe you have it in your About Me page, maybe even put it in all your descriptions. But that doesn't mean that all of the new people that are flooding into no pun intended, that are flooding into a piece of your content, that doesn't mean they're going to click on your channel page and go look at your channel art. It doesn't mean they're going to go to your About Me page. It doesn't mean they're going to open your description. So because of that, just do your thing and just embrace that as part of the thing. Right. So you embrace that as like, okay, this is a stigma that goes along with what I do. But if I'm going to do this type of content, then I have to kind of embrace that as stigma. And I have to look at it from the perspective of, somebody might come in and look at what it is that I'm doing in that way. However, I know that that's not my intention with the type of content that I'm putting out. And I know that I'm actually trying to, help people, avoid some of these situations. So therefore, I know that I'm morally rooted in the, in taking the right, approach with this. And, for everybody that's going to come in and say something, negative about it, that's totally on them. And they're allowed to have their opinion about it. That'd be the approach that I would take. Let's see. Next up on our list, we've got Farhan Plays. Farhan Plays says, how do I feature a channel? Gaming. Goal is to hit 200,000 subscribers. And the question is, how do I feature a channel? If you mean on your homepage, then what you need to do there is you need to go into your Creator Studio or your YouTube Studio. Once you're in there, then you want to go down to your customization option. Once you're in your customization option, then there's going to be an option there to add a section. When you click on add a section, then you're going to have an option to feature channels in there. And then you can list out, however many channels that you want to feature there. But just a heads up, I don't recommend that you do that. Like if you are going to, feature channels, definitely don't feature them at the top. If you are going to do that, feature them down at the bottom, or, just have them as, as channels, but don't actually, post them on the actual channel page. One rough girl says, I have lots of ideas with content, no problem. I have a lot of tech. Plus Alexa would be that tech specific or DIY cause. I have DIY for home improvements, and then there's home automation. Okay, give me 1 second to read through this again.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
I have lots of ideas with content to go problem. Now, problem, if I have lots of tech plus Alexa, would that tech be specific or DIY? Because I have a DIY for home improvements, and then there's home automation. So if you mean DIY in terms of like, I'm not really sure. If you could, you don't have to super chat again, but if you could just kind of rephrase that question so that I can just understand it better, because I can't fully, like, I'm trying to put that together and it's just not making sense to me. So if you could just say that in another way, and I'll keep an eye out for it in the chat right now, so that I can answer that question for you. If you could just say it in another way, just so I can help me understand it a little bit better. Let's see here. Turbo the Tech Nerd, what's up? Hope you're doing great. Let's see here. Okay. Do you have any milk crates? If so, Nick, do you have any milk crates? If so, video idea. No, I don't have milk crates. Not at this point in time. Actually, I don't have any milk crates, but yeah, I do not have any milk crates. I don't know if that's fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't have any, I don't have any milk crates. So, let's see here. Still looking for her question to come in here. One rough girl, waiting for that to be explained, if you don't mind. And while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the next question. And this next question is for Drew Project. Drew Project says they have a music channel. They do cover songs, acoustic and original instruments. The goal of the channel is to go full time, start a Patreon, and eventually Spotify, etc., etc. And the question: 84 subscribers, 20 videos. View per videos goes from 25 to 100 sometimes. I'm starting collaborations with other music channels. Very good move right there. As a music channel, collaborating with other music channels, extremely good move right there. Let's see here. As we speak, my issues that I've noticed that music channels, the small ones that are trying to succeed, mainly rely on musicians, which are also competitors. I feel that it's the worst possible audience to aim in this niche, but wouldn't know how to fix it. Your thoughts, any advice? So when it comes to like all of us that are making content here for YouTube, we all have people that make content like us. Most of us do. Even, the ones that stand out that make all original content, it's original for them. And then other people will follow along and end up making similar content, which then makes it, not original anymore. It was original, when they first published it, but then, it ends up being something that a lot of people make. So because of that, it's important that in your space, and this is what we do, like in the YouTube help space, like in addition to being like YouTube content creators and helping YouTube content creators, a lot of us also do like marketing related things around all of this as well. So because of that, you would think that we would all look at each other as like, serious competitors. Like, hey, I'm not going to bring attention to this person because then they might get somebody into their course or something like that. But at the end of the day, though, we have found in our space that by building those bridges and, supporting each other in terms of having each other on, each other's channels and things like that. Like, for example, when people reach out to me for consulting, because I'm not taking on any clients right now. So because of that, I've got like a list of people that, that a lot of people might look at as like, hey, these people are like, Nick's competitors. But, like, I'm like, hey, these are the people that I recommend because, I'm not, like, I'm not going to work with you right now. So because of that, like, here's the list of people that I recommend you go check out. Here's their websites. Here's the things that they specialize in. So, when it comes to YouTube, the more people that are making content like you, that's more content that you can get suggested from. So it's kind of a win, actually. So I just encourage you first to look at all those people as potential collaborators and potential, friends and all that stuff. Because, when you have that competitor mindset, then, in my opinion, I think that, that's kind of limiting. But in terms of everything else that you're talking about, one, I think it's great that you are starting to collaborate with people. Two, in terms of you feel like it's the worst audience to interact with your content. So as somebody that makes music myself as well, I'm not like, I'm not good enough to put it on YouTube, but in terms of somebody that makes music myself, also, I'll also watch a lot of, music channels and things like that. And if I were to start a YouTube channel, I would still continue to watch those, those channels also, because I like their music. In terms of, fixing who it is that's listening to your music, I really recommend that you give it a shot in terms of, trying to, hop on some trends with covers and that sort of thing, but just be really unique with what it is that you're doing, because in the music world, it's kind of brutal on YouTube in terms of, like you got to make really good stuff in order to stand out. So you don't get rewarded just by making it. You get rewarded by how people respond to it. And that's with any content. So because of that, you have to make sure that with the music that you're putting out, that it's really awesome. There's really awesome stuff. And I'm not saying that yours isn't, but I'm just saying that, that's what you need to make sure that you're focusing on more than anything else. Because the more focus that you put into your art and the less focus you put on, competitors and like that kind of thing, the more focus you put on your art and how good you are, that's going to be the thing that helps you stand out more than anything else that you can do in the music space. As we keep on going through this list.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Let's see here. Give business credit. Says Nick was at the Rodecaster. You just hit the button on. I bought the A10 Mini Pro, but have not used it yet. Yeah, so this right here is the Rodecaster. This is where I trigger sound effects. I also, occasionally I'll trigger from here too. Like for example, the sound that I had for my intro. When I first came in, I'm like, welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet, blah, blah. Like that's the thing that I had going for that. I actually triggered that one from my Stream Deck. So in the Stream Deck, turn that off. In the Stream Deck, you'll see that I have like, a listing of buttons here. Some of those I'll hit occasionally, but not that often. Most everything I've kind of isolated it down into this area here on the Rodecaster. Then I've got a few pages here for like when guests come on and all that. But that's where I trigger all the sounds from. Let's see. So as we keep on going through our list, Fantasia, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So I'm looking for feedback on the question that I didn't get clarity on. So she's right here. I see that. As I keep going up here. So I see you, Rough Girl, there. And I'm just looking for clarity on the question that you were asking to make sure. And I'm still kind of looking through the chat here for your answer to that, so I can make sure that I get you taken care of. If I don't, like if it ends up, if you end up posting it and I don't see it, then just shoot me a DM on Twitter and just mention, because I'm going to guess you have the same Twitter name. So just shoot me a DM on Twitter and then I can try to answer it for you there to make sure that I get you taken care of. Is there a place where we can? Okay. First time. Okay. So I'm sorry, first time buying a super chat. My question was, I'm a real estate agent with a lot of knowledge of social media and taxes for entrepreneurs. Should I focus in one or mix these since I'm going along? So the most important thing is thinking of what it is that you want to accomplish with your channel, because the idea when it comes to YouTube is you want to think of like, okay, this is what I want to accomplish with my content. Therefore, since I know that, like in your case, if you're trying to drive awareness about your real estate business, then in that case, you would want to make content that would lead people to be aware of your real estate business through whatever your content was for that. So if that was the goal, then in that case, making like general social media and taxes content wouldn't necessarily fit that. And if you were making, social media for real estate agents, that also wouldn't fit that if you're trying to bring awareness to your business in order to sell houses, right? So because of that, you just want to think first, like, what is it that I'm trying to do here? And then think, okay, if this is what I'm trying to do, what type of content do I need to make, or who do I need to make content for in order to be able to accomplish this thing? Because like, as you're coming onto the platform, you're going to be taking a different approach than, somebody that comes on just to make content about something that they're passionate about, right? So if you make content that's about something that you're passionate about, the path is a little bit different, because then you're like, hey, I'm making this content that I absolutely love and that I'm passionate about, but what do I want from making this content, right? And then, you have the content first, and then you start kind of building everything around that based on, your interest. But if you are trying to bring attention to your real estate business, then in that case, I would do something completely different. So in that case, if it was me, if I was doing, real estate in a particular city and I was going to use YouTube for it, of course, I would have some of the basic stuff that real estate agents always do in terms of, best practices for, new home buyers and when you're selling these homes and that homes and all that. But I would also, just because, I would enjoy this as well. But I would be like a person about town. So basically my resource that I would build would be to, over time, turn my channel into a resource for the community at large or at scale, so that when I'm publishing content on a regular basis, I'm spreading awareness about my real estate business through all the other cool stuff that I'm doing. So what that would look like in practice would be, of course, it would be, after I was vaccinated and all that good stuff. But one of the things that I would do is I would say, okay, I'm going to go to, like all the local events, and I'm going to go to all the local restaurants. I'm going to go to all this different stuff. And over time, I'm going to build this behemoth resource to where if anybody wants to know about anything in the city, they come to my channel for it. And as a matter of fact, I would have like a Friday or a Thursday episode that I would do. I would probably do it live, where I would take notes about all the cool stuff that's happening this coming weekend in the city. And then my place would end up being a destination for people or my channel would end up being a destination for people, so that they would come there to figure out like what's going on this weekend, that sort of thing. That would be the approach that I would take if I was trying to bring attention to my real estate business, in a city. If I was back in the States selling houses. Let's see here. As we keep on going down through this list, I'm looking here again for clarity on that question. Just going to look one more time here, and then I'll just kind of let it go. It says cool beans. Seeing anything there? Yeah. So like in your case, so if I wasn't able to get to that, then just shoot me a message on DM. Just make sure that you put your channel name so I can make that connection. And then we'll take it from there. How can Mechanic Channel collab without being face to face? So with that one, you can do things like for example, the video that I was talking about before, and I've actually done this, for example, with Brian G. Johnson. He's in the chat right now. So when Brian G and I have collaborated in the past, we've done it in person when we'd go to like Bid Summit, for example. And when we collaborate in person, that's one thing. But before we actually met in person, I'm literally on the other side of the planet from Brian G. Johnson. So because of that, what we would do is we would actually hop on Skype, and we would go back and forth on Skype, or he would make a part of a video and I would make a part of a video. And then we would basically add the head and the tail, or the intro and the outro to the video. But then, we would each fill in the body content of the video. So anybody that I collaborate with that isn't local, that's what we do in that situation. So in your case, one way that you could collaborate would be something similar, to where it would be like, hey, Fly Ride, what's up, man? To where it would be like, hey, we are going to fix this lawnmower, right? Or, hey, this is Nick from Nick's, small engine repair. And today he's going to take you through the process of fixing this particular lawnmower, because I don't have that lawnmower, but Nick does. And his actually needs repair right now. So Nick, take it away. And then I would pick up the video at that point in time, and I'd be like, hey, thanks, Simply Small Engine Repair. I appreciate it. So today we're going to be fixing this John Deere. I don't know. We're going to be fixing this John Deere lawnmower. And the very first thing that we got to do is we got to take this, top off of this and whatever else you do to fix a lawnmower. Not my wheelhouse on lawnmowers, but that's kind of the idea. So basically you just each make your own video, but then you hand it off to each other, the intro and the outro. And then at the end of the video, hey, back to you, Simply Small Engine Repair. And then you would pick it up there, and then you would encourage them to, subscribe to my channel or click into here to watch more videos from Nick, or, whatever the thing happened to be. Let's see here. Mr. Camera Junkie says, when you collaborate with Brian, we get rap fire. Absolutely. We get rap fire when I collaborate with Brian G. Johnson.
Check, 1, 2. I'm B to the G, it's easy to see what you need, it's attention from me. I'll give you the shout, get back on the grind and you'll be down for the count, trying to breathe. Your favorite is me, now you hate with the diss. All of that hair hanging there like a chick, man, give me a break. You're standing too close to the camera like Nick. Where's the claim that you say Filmora is hate? Call me a thief for the titles you hate. I taught you to rank, you seem to forget it. I hit it and quit it, and you try to walk in my wake. I'm tossing you weight, giving you shine, giving you clout by doing this with my time. And what I'm about, lying you guys, you come to my comfort, but now you're denied. You wanna throw shade. It's too late, I already got it made. You wanna bring hate. Hit the road, hater, cause I'm not phased.
If you're messing with G, you're messing with me. The name is Nimmin, I'll bend in a knee. Disturbing the peace, I'll come back into battle and murder a beat. I heard you eat worms like a bird, like a tree. Just like these words of defeat. I think Beanie should draw you and make you a T. They're waiting on me, who's waiting on you? If it wasn't for Johnson, you wouldn't have views or a clue. You wouldn't know what to do. The only extremes I see is your food. This is just weak, yes, I mean to be rude. Change of your scene, technique, everything about you and the future you seek. It's bleak, I don't mean to allude to the fact that you racked up a debt with the best in this feud. You just got wrecked by the crew.
You wanna throw shade.
Anyway, you get the idea. But yeah, that's what happens when Brian G and I collaborate on stuff. Oh, so much fun. Okay, so let's see here. So next up on our list, we have, drum roll. We have, this is Deep Fakery. Deep Fakery says that they do deep fakes and tutorials. Goal of the channel is monetization and commissions. And the question is, can you please talk about using subtitles? Should I keep the auto-generated version or delete it? How do I set my subtitles as English default instead of English US? My most recent upload didn't give me the option to choose default. Did YouTube change this recently? Also, the latest video wants me to add title and description, whereas the previous ones didn't. What's going on here? Okay, so when it comes to your subtitles, you can absolutely use the auto-generated subtitles. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're double checking those auto-generated subtitles. And the reason that you want to make sure that you're checking those is because, oh, and by the way, for that Brian G and me video that you just watched, that was a diss track, by the way. So that was about, so basically just a little history there for those of you that don't know. So Daniel Batal, who's often in this chat as well, he comes on the stream quite a bit, but he made a song about Brian G. Johnson, and for fun, you know, because everybody, you know, we're all friends. So he made this song, a diss track about Brian G. Johnson, and then we were like, you know, hey, let's, you know, make one about him. So that's pretty much what that is. So if you're like, who are they talking about, or what's going on there, like that's what that whole thing is. Just so you know, just to kind of bring you in on the loop there. But in terms of the subtitles, so you can use the ones provided by YouTube, but what you want to think about is, or not what you want to think about, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you go in and you double check the subtitles or the captions. And the reason for that is because sometimes YouTube will mess it up. And if they mess it up, sometimes you can put the wrong words in there. And those words can be words that can put you in restricted mode to where your content will be limited. Those words are things that will, you know, kind of make your video kind of about something else. So because of that, you know, you want to make sure that you are double checking your captions and that you're just correcting them as you're going through. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on the list, we've got Elizabeth Sampson. Elizabeth Sampson says that they teaching intuitive guidance, art, meditations, and healing. The goal of the channel is to provide value to those wanting to grow their intuitive gifts, learn to release stress, and tap into the message they receive, also to gain followers and clients. The question, is it best to be seen in my videos, especially on my thumbnails, or should I keep my thumbnail focused on the art? I'm not focusing on selling the art, but I'm focused on my courses and coaching. So if you're making thumbnails about art, then in that case, you know, focusing on the art is one thing. Now, in addition to that, you also want to make sure that that you are just focusing the viewer on the thing that matters to them. So, for example, if the thing that matters to them in your case is the art, then focus them on the art. If you want to add yourself to it, that's fine. But just think to yourself, okay, by adding myself to it, what is this going to help? If you're a brand new channel and nobody knows who you are yet, in terms of nobody's really interacting with your content yet, then in that case, having you in the thumbnail doesn't add any context, doesn't add any value in terms of helping people, you know, identify that it's your content. So because of that, it's not really necessary. When it comes to down the road, once you have a following, then some people will click on your thumbnail just because you're in it. However, it also works in reverse to where some people will not click on your thumbnail just because you're in it. But at the end of the day, it's important to focus people more on the thing that they care about than it is for us to put ourselves on there, just because we see a lot of other content creators putting themselves in their thumbnails. So I put myself on my thumbnail because I want you to be able to recognize that it's me, and I want you to click on it once you've interacted with my content in some way. Like that's why I do it. But in terms of if it's needed or not, what I encourage you to do is I encourage you to test it, because, for your content, for, who it is that you're trying to reach, every channel is different, every creator is different, every audience is different. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're doing what is the most effective for you and your content. And the best way that you can do that is through testing. And what you want to do to test is that you want to publish, have, one thumbnail with your face on it, and then have another thumbnail, same exact idea, but without your face on it. And then, basically swap them back and forth, or use something like Tubebuddy. Link to that's down in the description. But basically use something like that in order to be able to test your thumbnails to see which ones, people click on most. And then you'll figure it out over time. You can do it manually. It's just more complicated if you do it manually. And it's easy to mess up as well. So next up on our list, we have Miss Brown's Chronicle. Miss Brown's Chronicle says they do food and natural remedies content. Goal channels to build a working and big community that I can feel connected to at some time, make money out of it. Question: why do I hardly get views and subscribers? For my analytics, about 96% of the viewers don't subscribe. So first off, when it comes to your analytics, just as a heads up, when you are publishing content to YouTube, if your channel's like thriving, then you're going to have, a nice amount of subscribers coming in, but you're also going to have a lot of people that are interacting with your content that's not subscribed. So because of that, that part's actually good, because that means that you have 96% of the people that are interacting with your content. You could possibly convert them into a subscriber if they see the value in what it is that you're doing, and if you encourage them to do so. Rosh, what's up, man? Hope you're doing fantastic, man. Nice to see you in here. But in addition to that, when you're saying that you hardly get views and subscribers, you have to think of where you're at right now. So when you are in a situation where you are not getting views or subscribers, the very first thing you got to think of there is, well, I need more views in order to get subscribers in the first place. So then my real problem is not being able to get views. So then you have to start from scratch in terms of, what are my thumbnails like? What are the topics that I'm choosing to make videos about? When people do interact with my content, what type of experience are they having according to my YouTube analytics? Not just comments that are coming in, but like, what does my analytics say that these people are, that these people that are responding with my content, what do my analytics say about the experience that they're having? But you want to look at those sorts of things, and then you don't want to commit to what it is that you're doing. So making content about the stuff that you enjoy and that you like, doing, like that part, stick to that, commit to that. But when it comes to your specific topic choices and the way that you're putting your content together and all of that, don't be married to any of that. And the reason for that is because, if you find out that, hey, the way I'm starting my videos or some things that I'm doing in my videos, people aren't vibing with those, be willing to kind of sacrifice those parts of the video or make changes to those parts of the video so you can make a better experience for the people that are interacting with your content. And when you're willing to do that, it gives you a lot of room for growth in terms of, I'm not going to commit to my video being this way because I'm willing to, be a little bit fluid with this. That allows me to be able to kind of modify my content in a way that's going to help make it a better experience for the people that are interacting with it. Let's see here. So PE4 Doer says, Nick, what are you reading the channel descriptions from? So I have a form down in the description of this live stream right now. And down in that form is where people can put where you can put your question. And based on, how long we're in the stream and that kind of stuff, we'll determine on, how far we get in the questions. And, the very specific questions, some of them are longer in terms of the answers. Some of them are fast. So there's that. Let's see here. Hey, thanks, Rosh. Glad that you like the setup here, man. So let's see here. So here's another thing that I want to do here really quick, because I'm going to actually be sending out the share link here in just a minute. So right now, if you have a question, because I've been pulling these from the forum the whole time, and I like to, dig into the, for those of you that might have just joined later, or maybe you didn't have a chance to put your, question in the forum or something, I would like to open this up for you as well. Let's say you're asleep when I first started the stream, therefore you couldn't get your question in. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, put a Q in front of that question so I know it's for me and not a side conversation. And go ahead and ask your question in the chat right now. And I'm going to go through a few of those before I send out this join link, just in case, somebody starts coming into the stream. I want to, crush through a handful of these questions. So, and this is going to go, and we're doing lightning round mode. So for lightning round mode, we're going to turn on some music for this one. Okay, so let's see here. So question number 1 is, I have ideas and interests on multiple niches. How can I narrow it down to one niche while starting a YouTube channel? What you want to think about when it comes to narrowing your niche is you want to think about the thing that you enjoy the most. YouTube is a long game. Think of YouTube as a marathon, not a sprint. And because of that, you're going to be making content about that same thing for quite some time. So you want to make sure that you give yourself, enough content and that you are picking something that you're going to enjoy being a part of for a very long time. Handgun safe research. Question, I never used an intro before, but now I'm testing out a 5-second intro so people have a better idea of what to expect with my videos. Is that harming my channel? It could be. What you want to do is you want to look into your audience retention reports and see how people are responding to that intro. One thing that I want you to consider is let me know how many times that you've logged into YouTube hoping that you see an awesome intro. Also, let me know how many times that you've skipped past intros on channels that you are currently familiar with and you know exactly what's happening in their intro. It's probably quite a bit. So because of that, you want to kind of balance out, like, is this really adding value to people, or is this something that I'm doing to be flashy? If you're doing it to be flashy, you might want to consider holding off on the logo intro. Now, if it's an intro letting people know, like a verbal intro, like, hey, this is what we're going to be doing in today's video, that's one thing. But what I'm talking about, like, you should do that. What I'm talking about is a logo intro that is, that doesn't have any value whatsoever except throwing your logo in somebody's face. Next question that we have here on this list is, as I go down, it jumped. Give me 1 second. Let me back up. Okay, we did that one. We did that one. Okay. Acoustic cover song videos. I'm struggling to make more clickable thumbnails. Is it a good idea to copy the same bigger, huge channel style, same font, similar logo placement, proportions, etc.? So you don't want to copy their style. It's best, and it'll help you stand out if you can come up with your own. So spend time trying to come up with your own look, your own style for what it is that you're doing so that you can stand out from everybody else. Because that bigger creator, they've been doing it for a while. They figured out what works great for them and who it is that they're trying to reach. But they've, that's how they stand out. So you need to be able to come up with something on your own that will help you stand out as well. Because what you don't want to do in any capacity on YouTube is you do not want to do what other people are doing in terms of they're doing their thumbnails like this, so I'm going to do my thumbnails like this. They're making their videos like this, so I'm going to make my videos like this. Like, you don't want to do that, because what happens is you end up being like a Walmart version of them, right? Or a Dollar Tree version of them. You want to be like the luxury version of you, and that's it, right? You don't want to be a copy of the other content creators. That's what helps you stand out compared to everybody else. Let's see here. 3 ways to get them answered. Okay, that's Doug. Okay, a few minutes back. Oh, okay, I didn't see that one. Let's see here. Should you stream on YouTube or Twitch? Of course, I'm biased to this one, and I'm biased to this one to YouTube, and the reason for that is because of the built-in discovery features on YouTube. So if you take a great approach to YouTube, streaming here, you can grow, at a decent pace here. If you're really good at streaming and you're really good in terms of strategy, in terms of exactly what it is that you're doing with your streams, if you're repurposing your streams as video content later, that kind of stuff, then you can really get some serious traction here easier compared to what it is that you're doing on Twitch. In addition to that, you can also leverage search here for some of that content, which when you leverage search on YouTube, you're also leveraging search on Google, Yahoo, Bing, any other search engine that's textual that shows video results. So because of that, mixing those types of content, search-based content into what it is that you're doing can be advantageous there as well. But of course, the home pages and recommendations can bring a lot of attention to you as a streamer. Question, is it a good idea to make a regular video and use a clip for a short too? Absolutely. You can experiment with that and see how people respond to it. Keep in mind when it comes to shorts that those are also performance-based. Let's see here. Nick, do you make your own thumbnails or do you have someone else make your thumbnails? I make my own thumbnails. I actually love making thumbnails for here, but I'm not a fan of making thumbnails for my clips channel. So I've actually been looking for people to make thumbnails for my clips channel. And I've used, a few different services, and I'm actually getting ready to try a new one as well. Let's see here. Where do you see your channel in 5 years? In terms of my YouTube channel, I see that we, will continue to grow as long as YouTube is still a platform that people are trying to come onto. Then I will still be talking primarily to YouTube content creators and helping YouTube content creators out. If there becomes a lot more competitive things that end up coming into the space, then of course, I'll end up branching out a little bit as well. But for now, I'm just going to keep serving YouTube content creators for as long as I can, because because this whole YouTube thing has changed my life in ways that I can't even put into words. And because of that, I hope that some of the people that interact with my live streams and my content that take this information and apply it to what it is that they're doing, if I can impact at least a nice handful of you in even remotely close, similar type of way that I've been impacted, then my job here will be done, so to speak. But that's what I'm after. Let's see here. Paul Apps Artist says, I'm an artist and at 6,200 subs after 26 of hard regular work. I'm not sure what that is, 26 hours maybe. People say it's part because I do videos on oil painting and watercolor painting, being told to create a second channel. I'm not 100% sure what that question is. After 26 of hard regular work. 62 subs after 26 of hard regular work. Yeah, I don't fully understand that question, so I'm going to have to move on. If you could say it in another way, hopefully I'll catch it here further down. Can you change your title and thumbnails too much? Yeah, you can. What you don't want to do is you don't want to be swapping your titles around too much. The reason for that is because making changes can, definitely help a video, but it can also hurt a video. So, YouTube has its system in terms of, putting content here, seeing how people respond to it. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to be changing everything too much, because you're literally updating the entire packaging versus a thing. And then when you make that change, you're not really going to know what it is that you did that worked. But in addition to that, while they're testing, then if you are, if you're changing, if it's like, hey, I started getting a response here, and then you change it the next day because you haven't noticed that, then in that case, you could be doing a disservice to yourself. Question, is that curved screen better than a double screen? Yes, without question. So I've had double screens. I've had 2 screens. I've had 3 screens. And then I've had this. This, hands down, without question, is the best monitor that I've ever used ever. My only complaint is that it's not 4K. Thanks, Doug. The only complaint is that the screen is not 4K. If it was 4K, then I would be way happier with this in terms of just the resolution. It's still high, but it's not quite 4K. So because of that, screenshots have to be stretched out, that kind of stuff. Screen recordings have to be stretched out. So for what I do, I wish that it was 4K, but it's not. But outside of that, in terms of the screen real estate, I absolutely am like crazy over this monitor. I've got a link to this. If you go in the description, it's like, it's like my Amazon link. That particular link will take you to a page about this monitor. And there's also an attachment. If you end up getting the arm, which isn't necessary, but if you do, then there's a special attachment you have to get for the arm based on the center of gravity that this monitor has due to the curve. Let's see here. I focus on long videos. I focus on long videos at all when my shorts have gotten me over 50,000 subs in 4 months and my longs only get 1,000 views. Yeah, then go with a shorts channel, right? There's nothing wrong with doing short content. Like if you find that people are responding the most to your short content and you're like, hey, I don't even need to make long form content. I don't even want to. Then in that case, by all means, roll with shorts. Just keep in mind that, as that gets more competitive, you might end up slowing down. But the fact that you are coming into it, at a pace that you've gained 50,000 subscribers in 4 months, then in that case, you're probably doing it right. So because of that, you'll probably end up being fine. Question, is it a good idea to make a new regular video and use the clip for short too? Yep, that's fine. No, so you're allowed to repurpose content like that. If you take a clip out of it and then repurpose it as a short, that's perfectly okay. So is mashup. So for example, if you have 10 different videos that you made, but then you take one little section out of all 10 of those videos, you combine them together to make one video. That's also okay. One thing that I do is these live streams. I have a clips channel that I don't publish to that often, but I have a clips channel as well to where I'll publish some of this, some clips from this live stream out of there, and it's perfectly okay. All right, so let's see here really quick. I'm going to share this just in case anybody wants to come in. Let's see here. Link, bam, there we go. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to keep going through the questions here, and we're just doing this lightning round style. Let's see here. How can you monetize a Russian channel? I'm not sure what Russian is. Oh, is that reaction? Yeah. So, wait, my channel's about music. Okay. So if you're reacting to music, let's see here. How would you be able to monetize that? If you're reacting to music. So yeah, you'd be going with ad revenue. Of course, you might want to try a Patreon. If you start getting like actual fans, if people are like, like fans, then in that case, you might want to try a Patreon or something like that. But ultimately, yeah, ad revenue is probably going to be your thing. You could, of course, set up like a, Amazon influencer store or something like that and try to drive awareness to that. But, at the end of the day, yeah, for that, off the top of my head, I can't think of, if you were making music, totally different conversation. But if you're just reacting to, other people's music, yeah, you're going to be mostly dependent on ad revenue. I'm sure there's something you could do if we like sat here and brainstormed for a while. But off the top of my head, yeah, you're going to have to work on that one for a while in terms of trying to think of what to do. Hey, Nick, how can I make my art videos stand out? Great art. So first off, whoa. Hey, I just realized it was you. So, hey, I'm going to show this here during the live stream. So check this out. So let's see here. So he made on Instagram. So glad you came to the stream today. So he made on Instagram. Let me open it up here. Give me 1 second. So check this out, everybody. So right here on his Instagram, check this out. And go to his Instagram and watch it. Like right up here at the very top, calligraphy, same exact channel name that he has, but he did my name here. Oops. He did my name here in calligraphy. Super cool. He's got a bunch of really awesome content of all of these different, letterings on his Instagram. So definitely go check out the Instagram over there. Super, super cool stuff. So, hey, here's the thing. Shoot me a message on Instagram. Like that was a really cool thing to do. Shoot me a message on Instagram and we'll have that conversation privately. I'll definitely give you some advice on things that you can do to get more attention. Let's see here as we keep on going. If you do quality content, thumbnails, consistent upload schedule, mini videos, but nothing is working, then what do you do? First off, if you are making quality content, thumbnails, consistent upload schedule, mini videos, but nothing is working, then what can you do? Readjust the way that you're looking at what it is that you're doing. Because if you think your content is quality and your thumbnails are quality, but people aren't responding to them, that means that they're not the quality that you think they are. Quality is not just like your camera optics. Quality is not just how things sound. Quality is more about how people interact with the content that you have. So for example, you can have a piece of content that looks bad to where when people see it, experienced people, they might look at it and be like, oh, that's pretty bad content. But if people respond good to that bad content, then it's good quality content in terms of the platform and helping, YouTube accomplish their goals of keeping people on the platform. So because of that, if it's not working, and you've been doing this for a while and, you've had enough time to where it's like, hey, I've been doing this for a while. I've been putting this content out for the last, 6 months or the last year. And I'm not getting like anywhere, like I'm getting like a view of video or 2 views of video. Then in that case, you need to reanalyze what it is that you're doing. Because, if things are good on the stats side, in terms of people responding positively, and in terms of like you actually making quality content, actually making quality thumbnails or thumbnails that cause people to click on them, then in that case, it would be working. So that's the thing that you have to make sure that you're considering. It's really easy for us because we're biased, right? We're biased to our own stuff. Like we publish it because we think it's good. So because of that, it's really easy to get lost in like, hey, this is good stuff. Everybody should love it. But in reality, if people love it or not, like it might be great for you, but if you're making it for other people to enjoy, then they have to enjoy it for it to be good, right? So like, for example, if you have like a TV show and that TV show doesn't do that great in terms of people just don't get into it, then that TV show isn't going to see another season, right? If a channel puts it out. Same with Netflix, whatever. They're not going to finance another making of that series if people don't like it. So your YouTube content's the same exact way. If people don't respond to it, then in that case, it's not going to do well. And you got to make the change. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through this, shorts, does it get any better than Dickies multi-pocket work shorts? Love it. Yeah, I thought you were talking about like YouTube shorts. That's good, working that in. Oh, love it. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, how can you monetize a reaction channel? Yeah, we already talked about that one. Let's see here. Hold on really quick. Did they just say ignore my super chat? I didn't. I talked about your super chat. So let's see here. So in terms of Magic Prepper, super chat here says, I recently had an inappropriate super chat come in during a live stream. What's the right way to handle that? I deleted it, but should I have reported it? And how can that activity affect monetization? So when you notice that stuff and you take it down, then it's fine. So if you have a lot of profanity in your comments, or you just have a lot of hate, or you have people saying like illegal things in your comments, you want to delete them or report them. So if it's during a live stream and it comes in, just delete it. But if it's like really bad, then in that case, you might want to report it. And the reason for that is because if it's like threatening or something like that, then of course you want that documentation that it's been reported so that, so that information is kind of reserved in case you need it later. So in that situation though, like if people are just being appropriate, it's going to happen. Just make sure that you try to delete them. That's where having, like moderators and things like that will definitely be helpful for you. Or having someone else, just be a part of, like even if you don't have like other moderators, having like, if you have, friends or family that are hanging out while you're live streaming, something like that, having one of them moderate can definitely be helpful for that situation. Let's see here as we keep on going. Let's see here. I've had enough of the music. Goodbye. Later. Peace. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list. We are going to come down to here. How's Owen and the fundraiser going? So we are going to be doing another live stream on Owen's channel. It was going to be the end of this month, but they moved it to the end of next month. But right now, I think last time I checked, I think there's somewhere around like $108,000 or $109,000. So there's about 40,000, left on that. So we might end up doing something like in between there. I'm not sure yet. We're just kind of talking about it, a little bit behind the scenes. But for that, it's definitely still going on. Let's see here. Merch and White Noise Studio. This is on the music question. So White Noise Studio says merch plus affiliate probably on the music side. Yeah, I didn't think about merch. That's a great addition to that as well. It is. Definitely is. Let's see here as we keep on going through this list. Sometimes I react. Okay, that wasn't a question. Okay, keep on going through here. Oh, you play the piano. I thought you were doing reaction videos. Okay. So if you're doing, I thought you were just doing reactions. If you play the piano, then in that case, you can sell samples. You can sell, training on how to play the piano. If you're good at playing the piano, you can sell mouse pads that show, the actual, chords or progressions or anything like that. Yeah, there's all kinds of different stuff that you can do there. You can make, make videos for, or make, songs that you upload to Spotify and spread the awareness of that through your audience and get paid per play on Spotify. All kinds of things that you can do there. Let's see here. Only if it's within Platinum Nipples says, can you get demonetized if you fall under 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time? Only if it's within a 365-day period. I think I need to go down this list a little bit here. It looks like I'm looking at like old stuff. Okay, is dark humor jokes harmful for a channel long term? No, but one thing that you got to think about with this stuff, is like when you are doing things on the internet. Yeah, it's scheduled for the 25th, but in the Facebook group here, they mentioned that that they're moving it to October 23rd, I believe, Doug. But basically, when it comes to like dark humor and just other questionable things that you might do in your videos, one thing that you want to think about is when it comes to the internet, all of the stuff that you're doing online, it's all stuff that people can, come back to later. It's all stuff that, people can take out of context and, all of that stuff. It's stuff that can cause you to get canceled, down the road, those sorts of things. So because of that, like if you're trying to grow your influence online, I always recommend, some people go other routes and they're successful with it and that's perfectly fine. But the way that I like to go based on my moral compass and just the way that I view things is I like to keep everything family friendly and keep everything brand friendly. And the reason for that is because one, that's just, the cool thing to do because that makes your content to where it can be consumed by anyone. In addition to that, it can be consumed by anyone in any environment that they happen to be in. So for example, if you have content that is abrasive in terms of the language, then what can happen is, while somebody's watching your video, how many people here, let's do this. There might not be any. Let's find out. How many people here are watching or listening to this right now, but you have children somewhere in the background that could possibly hear this? Just say me, just because I'm just curious here, just so I can give, this example. But if that's you, if you have, like younger kids, somewhere around that can hear what the words that are coming out of my mouth right now, just say so in the chat. But okay, so we've got, yes, we have me. So we have a lot of me's here. Okay. So one of the wins with being brand friendly and family friendly is that all of these people right here that just mentioned that, they have, small children that are in the background that can hear me right now. For every one of those people, if I was sitting here, just saying all types of profane things or, telling dirty jokes or, whatever the thing happened to be, then, for all of them, if they're like mindful of, like the things that their kids are consuming and things like that, and they're trying to, just kind of control that sort of thing, then they might opt out of participating in the live streams because of that. Right. So, so when it comes to, what it is that you're doing, in your live streams or in your video content, it's important to make sure that, you're keeping those things in mind, but you're also thinking of it from the perspective of, like if somebody's listening to this at work or they're around their significant other or whatever the thing happens to be, like just making sure that, that they can listen to your stuff anywhere, or like they can watch your stuff anywhere. But also when you're working with companies, that's another place where this comes in to be important, because, when you're first starting out, you may or may not be thinking about, hey, I'm going to end up making, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future from brand deals. You might not be thinking there yet. So because of that, I'm telling you that that's a very possible thing. And you should be considerate about just thinking like, hey, if a brand wants to work with me, or they, let's say they see my content from the outside and they start digging in and they're like, hey, this person's getting, decent average view counts. And, they seem to have a lot of followers. Like, what's going on here at this channel? And they start looking at your stuff. Start thinking from the perspective of if you want to, make, like that type of, income later from, brand deals, start thinking like, okay, if I am, doing these types of things in my videos, if I start working with a company, how's this going to make them look if I'm doing like all of these things, right? Or how much opportunity is this going to cost me if I have a company that is also family friendly and they're representing themselves in a family friendly way, but then, they're looking at my content and then I'm not being family friendly and therefore they're just not going to work with me because I'll reflect poorly on their brand. You have to make sure that you're keeping those things in mind as well. If, you're wanting to, tap into, all of that stuff, once your channel gets rolling. Let's see here. Okay, so Doug said that let's hear. We have Doug bringing something specific to my attention here. Says this is from Sunny. Says I've had my channel hacked twice and they were deleted. The channels, one with 50,000 subscribers, one with 10,000 subscribers. No one at YouTube will help me. Any suggestions? Yes. So so right out of the gate, if you are going into the okay, I don't know what you've done. You might have just tried to, send them an email. Like, I don't know the route that you've taken. So I'm going to give you the typical route that you want to take. And this same exact route has helped tons of channels. Cause I get this, I have people hit me up all the time about this. And it's helped a lot of people get their channels back. So the very first thing that you want to do, of course, is go on Twitter. You want to make sure that you're adding Team YouTube and YouTube creators. Let them know the problem that you're having. Be very civil about what you're doing. Be kind about what it is that you're doing. Don't blame anybody. Just say, hey, look, this is what's going on. I'm trying to get my channel back. And then they're probably going to respond to you either through DM or they're going to give you a specific link to where you can go fill out information. In addition to that, go on to the YouTube subreddit, YouTube or reddit.com/r/YouTube. Go there, plead your case there because they do have YouTube people that check that out as well. You also want to go to the YouTube community forums. On the YouTube community forums, if you just go to Google and type in YouTube community forums, then those are going to come up as well. You also want to go there and spell out your case. Make sure that you're being professional in your approach, that you're being kind in your approach, that you're not blaming anybody, that you're not doing anything like that. Just state the facts, right? Don't even worry about adding opinions because it doesn't matter. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get your channel back. So make sure that you focus on, hey, this is what happened. This is what I believe happened. I'm just looking for help on getting the channel back. And then you should have somebody out of all of those outlets, you should have somebody reach out to you and start the dialogue with you about how you can get your channel back or exactly what happened. So that's the approach that I recommend that you take. That's the same approach that I recommend to everybody. And a lot of people, I would say most, end up getting their channels back as long as they didn't actually do something wrong. In terms of, some people will do something wrong. Their channel will get taken down. They'll blame it on a hack, and those sorts of things. So if you're not doing that, then you should be able to get your channel back. Let's see here. Drew Project.
Superchat.
Oops, wrong one. Drew Project
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure next time you're on Facebook, and no, wow, that was like an archived thought there. So an archived pattern. So go to nimminvip.com. That's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Make sure you fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member on the way in. Have one of my videos get a copyright claim? How can I cut that section out? I only have a phone. So what you want to do is you want to go into the YouTube, basically go on your phone, go into your phone, go into Google Chrome. Down on the bottom right-hand side, you are going to see a 3-dot menu. Click on that 3-dot menu, and then you're going to scroll down, and you're going to see Request Desktop Site. So you want to make sure you click that. So that's going to take you into a version to where you'll be able to see things like a computer. Then go to studio.youtube.com. That will take you right into your YouTube studio. Once you're in your YouTube studio, you can click on, whatever videos you want. You can get your access to your full YouTube analytics. Just like if you're on a computer, you can go into the editor, you can add in screens, like you can do all the stuff on your phone, just like if you were on a computer. Again, you have to make sure that you're doing this in requesting desktop site in desktop mode. Because if you don't do that, it's going to keep redirecting you into all the mobile stuff, trying to get you to open apps and all of that. One thing that will happen if you don't do the desktop mode first is the Creator Studio is going to pop up a screen. On that screen, it's going to ask you to open it in the app, or it's going to say no, continue to desktop site or whatever. Make sure you click on that. And then that will take you over into the desktop site. Go Time AFL. What's up? Hope you're doing great. Let's see here. Question. Is there an analytic to show us how many people view our YouTube channel page? Is there an analytic to show if these views lead to subscribes, views, and subscribe? So yes, technically. So if you connect your YouTube analytics to Google Analytics, then you can get more deeper insights on what happens when somebody visits your YouTube channel page. Boom. That's something that's a great question. It's something that I don't, really spread awareness about, because most people don't want that kind of information. But yeah, you absolutely can. So what you want to do is you want to connect your, you want to set up a Google Analytics account and connect your YouTube channel to that as a property. And then when you do that, you'll start getting some additional information about how people are flowing through your YouTube channel. Like, for example, you'll get to see okay, these are the people that hit the YouTube channel, and then out of these people, this is kind of the flow that people have from my channel page. Let's see here. I tried doing everything, adding keywords, title, description, but none of my videos are ranking in YouTube search. I think if it ranks, it will get views for old videos every day. So here's the thing. Keywords, titles, descriptions, those are for context to let YouTube know what your content's about. And of course, when it comes to YouTube search, according to YouTube, one of the things that helps videos show up there is, of course, relevancy to the actual search term that people are putting into that field. Now, the other side of YouTube search is it is all performance-based. So even though you might have all of the right words in your title, that's easy. Everybody can do that. Even though you might have all the right words in your description, it's easy. Everybody can do that. As long as you have the right tags, right? It's easy. Everybody can do that. The thing that really matters that not everybody can do is your title, your thumbnail, in terms of exactly what it is. So in terms of if it's going to cause people to click on it or not. And then, of course, once they do click on it, the experience that people have once they click on your video. So if that experience is great, then you'll end up, rising in search results over time. If it's not great, then of course you're not going to make it to the top of YouTube search until you make content that does perform there. So as we keep on going, question is dark. Okay, we did that one already. Did we get to market? Man, I feel like I'm repeating some questions here. I think I jumped up too far. So here, I'm just going to jump to the bottom, and then we're just going to go from here. Okay. I noticed when I watch a YouTube short, I noticed those videos show up on my YouTube page as by me, which to me appears as though I created it. How can I have that changed? That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. That could just be a glitch on their side. George B. Thomas. What's up, my dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic, man. I hope that you are enjoying your day. Hope that you're having a great weekend so far. Let's see here. What are some of the best screen recording software for PC gaming? Camtasia, hands down. The reason, if you're on a PC, you should be using Camtasia. So I've got videos on Camtasia. Actually, one of the videos that I just put out, I actually highlight, Camtasia a little bit as well. But if you are looking for a screen recorder, like a solid screen recorder, Camtasia is hands down the best one that you can get for PC. I've been using it since 2014. So basically with Camtasia, the difference is like people are going to say like, oh, you can use OBS and like that kind of stuff. You can. That'll definitely record your screen. But the difference is when you are recording in Camtasia, you can like once your Camtasia file is finished, when you zoom in, it will maintain the quality up to a certain point. I mean, if you get ridiculous, then of course it'll degrade a little bit, but it'll maintain the quality when you're zooming in. So like you can zoom into very specific, parts of the game, which will make the experience the viewers are having, more dynamic. But you can zoom into things. You can have it to where it'll sketch arrows or circles or whatever it is that you're trying to do there as well. But basically, it allows you to record your screen and edit what you've recorded as well. So they've got all kinds of cool stuff in there. And if you do use Camtasia, make sure that you check out my Camtasia videos because I have links in the description there to where you can get like free subscribe animations that pop up and things like that. So if you are a Camtasia user, make sure that you check out my Camtasia videos and the links that are in the descriptions for those. Let's see as I keep on going down. Let's keep these questions coming in. Any ideas for mobile free music for shorts from YouTube Music Library? The music only plays for 15 seconds. Thank you as always for another great live. My pleasure. So when you are, if you're looking for free music can be a little bit complicated. So when it comes to free music, like I'm really hesitant on the places that I recommend for free music because like there's a lot of like stuff that goes on with free music. We're actually in the process right now of creating a free music resource, my brother and I, to creating a free music resource for the community. So that's going to be available really soon. So you'll be able to use that. But right now, some popular ones, Stream Beats is a popular one. Roberto Blake has one. Why can't I think? Zenbuster Music. There we go. So Zenbuster Music is Roberto's. And I think that you can use that in videos, but you want to, just tweet at Roberto and ask him for clarity, just to make sure that that's okay for video use and not just for live streaming. But I know for Stream Beats you can with his, but every now and then with all the free music, and this is going to happen with ours too, just every now and then. Some shady companies will, claim the music. And when they claim the music, then the content creator will get like a claim on the video. And then all they have to do with Stream Beats, for example, and with Zenbuster, if he allows it for videos, and I know we're going to do this also, but basically, if you end up getting the claim there, all you have to do is just submit the counter for it. And that counter will come from the documentation that Stream Beats will give you with the song or the documentation that we'll give you with ours. And then you can dispute it that way. But for right now, though, in terms of the YouTube Music Library. So if you are going to use theirs, then some of theirs requires attribution. So you want to make sure that you are giving attribution, and that basically means credit to the songs that you're using there if they require it for the specific songs, because some they do and some they don't. For the ones that do, if you don't give it, then you can get a copyright claim there. But if they don't require attribution, then you can use them on YouTube, but not elsewhere. Let's see here. What are some good tips for a new streamer getting ready to start and nervous that people won't watch? So this is a great question, John. So when it comes to live streaming, it can be extremely intimidating because, like you're live and, if you mess up, people are going to see it, right? There's no, like, it's not like video content where you can mess up and it's like, oh, hey, I just won't use that clip. I'll just use something else or I'll shoot something new, right? It's completely different. So because of that, people are going to see it. You probably will, mess up from time to time, but it's okay. Like in our brains, we kind of build up the intensity of what a live stream is when in reality, people that are watching, they know it's live. If you mess up, it's not that big of a deal. But some things that you want to think about as a new streamer. Step number one is when you are live streaming, live streams are great for the time that you're live streaming in terms of, you're making it a thing like, hey, I'm live streaming, people are participating. It's cool to watch while you're live. But another thing that you want to think about, especially when you're getting started, is you want to make sure that you are structuring your live stream in a way that makes it also good for the replay. What that means is maybe instead of streaming for 3 hours like I do, maybe you want to stream for 30 minutes at a time. And the reason for that is because it makes the commitment lower when people are coming into that content, maybe an hour max. But even in that case, that's a pretty big commitment that you're asking people that have never experienced your content before. But in addition to that, you want to think about the replay overall. So what I mean by that is you want to structure your stream in a way to where if somebody comes in on the replay, it's going to be a great experience for them. And what I mean is, when it first starts, as soon as you hit go live, say what it is that you're going to be doing in the stream. Hey, in the stream, we're going to be doing this. And if you can make it something that's interesting, like for example, if you're playing a game, then in that case, it's like, hey, today we're going to try to, beat this game or get number one in battle royale, whatever it is, using a limited amount of, of weapons, or we're going to try to do it, without running, or, only running, or, whatever the thing is, without hiding behind anything, like whatever your thing is, just put like that challenge or whatever it is that you're going to be doing at the beginning, just like people do with video content. And the reason to do that is because when somebody clicks on your video, you want to think about that experience they're going to go through on the replay. When they click on your replay, once you're done with streaming, then like, why would they want to stick around if they don't even know what's going on, right? So you want to make sure that you're adding that part in terms of like, this is why you should stick around. And then some people will stick around, some people won't. But for the people that will, they'll have that context as to why they should, right? So you want to make sure you're thinking about that. In addition to that, don't waste tons of time when your stream does start. So say what it is that you're going to be doing and then get into it. So go ahead and get everything ready, right? Get your game ready, get your browsers ready, because I don't know exactly what type of stream you're doing, but get your game ready, get your browser ready, get like everything ready so that you're not fumbling around a lot during your live stream. Because as you can see, like I went through the process of automating like camera switching and things like that. The only thing I haven't automated is my sound effects, just because they happen, like randomly. So because of that, like things that make it easier for me is automating the actual camera switching, so I don't have to actually think about it. So I can just focus on answering the questions. But you want to think of things like that. Just get everything ready. If there's things that you can get into place that will make your stream easier, then definitely get those things into place. Another thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have fallbacks. So if you're talking about stuff, if you're playing a game, it's different. But if you are talking about stuff, you want to have some fallbacks. And what I mean by fallbacks is, let's say you're streaming and you're sitting there, you're talking about all your stuff, and then you just completely lose track of what it is that you're talking about, because that happens, right? You're a human, you have a brain, and sometimes your brain goes off the rails. It just happens. So because of that, you want to make sure that you have things that you can fall back on. So you can either store those here, or you can just make some notes so that in the event that you just completely lose your train of thought, you glance over to your notes and you've got a big list of talking points, things that you can start talking about, and you can just jump right into, oh, by the way, have I told you about, this thing that's coming up, or, by the way, I've got this, this video that I published, last month, people are really, enjoying it. I recommend, just little things like that. So if you get those things in place, then you have those things that you can default to in the event that your stream, or your brain works against you during the stream. Next, as you are, considering starting your live stream, the first thing that I recommend that you do is, because you're like, hey, I'm more nervous that people aren't going to watch. So first, before you do a public live stream, do a private stream. And the reason that I want you to do that is because I want you to stream while nobody's watching. And the reason that I want you to do that is because when you stream, when nobody can even come in and watch, and you can get through that, and you can get through a whole stream, you're going to know exactly what to expect. And when nobody's watching, or if nobody's watching, I should say, then in that case, you're going to already have that experience, and you already know that you can keep the stream going if people are there or not. Okay. 3, while you're streaming, if you're just getting started on YouTube, there's a really good chance that you might not have anybody come in and watch if you're just getting started. So because of that, what you want to think about is, I'm all replay. Everything that I do with this live stream, I'm doing it for the replay. That means your thumbnail, your title, what it is that you're doing in the game. Like I was talking about before, like, hooking the viewers when they come in, that kind of stuff. And you just want to do it for the replay. Like Doug says, you want to dance like nobody's watching, right? But you want to dance like people are watching, though, is actually what you want to do in that scenario. But like you want to, you want to just make sure that you're making a piece of content live versus only live streaming, if that makes any sense. So in that case, you're making the content that's for the replay, but you're just doing it live. Okay. So make sure that you're considering those types of things. But in terms of nervous that people aren't going to watch, if you're just starting, you don't have, anybody interacting with your, content yet, there's a really good chance that when you stream, nobody's going to watch, and that's perfectly okay. So what I recommend that you do is have your chat open, right? Have that sectioned off so you can see if somebody starts chatting, so you can make sure that you acknowledge them, but cover your view count. So cover, like right now, like I have StreamYard open and I can see how many people are hanging out in this stream. I have my YouTube backend open. I can see how many people are hanging out in the stream. I have this new tool that we're working on open. I can see how many people are hanging out in the stream. But if I was like, hey, I'm going to like freak out mentally if like nobody's coming into this, not freak out, but you know what I mean? I mean, it's going to make me feel bad if nobody's coming into the stream. Then in that case, I would hide all that stuff. So I would like, okay, I'm covering this, I'm covering this, I'm covering this. If I got to take a Post-it note and stick it over that live counter, then that's what I'm going to do so that I can just give it my best. Because that one person that might end up coming to your stream, if you're just focused on giving it your best the entire stream, if somebody's there or not, that one person that's going to come in, that you giving it your best could be the thing that makes that person stick around, subscribe, come in and start watching all your streams. Because how this whole thing starts. My very first stream here on YouTube, I think I had 2 or 3 people come into it. And it was like I think it was like a 15-minute live stream, I believe. I was doing like a thumbnail tutorial, maybe 30 minutes. Super pumped. I was like, oh my gosh, there's people in here. Hey, what's going on? Like it was like a big deal, right? Like I was super pumped about it. So like when you first start streaming though, you just want to make sure that you're giving it your all, because you never know who that one person is. You never know if it, like, let's say for example, like you're doing a really awesome stream. You have somebody come in, they have a YouTube channel. Let's say it's sizable, and they're like, hey, this is a great, wow, you're really good at this. Hey, you should come, stream with me sometime, or you should come, do whatever with me sometime, or they shout you out in their community feed, whatever it happens to be. So just give it your best, but understand that if you do mess up anything like that, like everybody starts there, everybody goes through that sort of thing. So it's not that big of a deal. It's part of the process. But of course, the better that you prepare, that's why, I want you to do a practice stream first with no viewers. The better that you prepare, the better you can handle those sorts of things. And also, if the tech goes wrong, if something goes wrong during your stream, don't stress out about it. Don't, put a big spotlight on it. Just acknowledge it and then just try to, keep moving through it, versus just stopping everything that's going on and it turning into like, hey, everybody, let's just focus on this one thing that's going wrong versus all the things that are going right in the stream, right? Because tech happens, tech problems happen in terms of like your camera, your internet, your, software, like whatever it is, like, you're going to run into problems. If it's not your first one, it'll be down the road, but you're definitely going to run into problems. Let's see here. So next up, Junkman.
Super chat.
Daily video, but testing also a shorter video at noon. Good feedback, but a lot less views. Does it hurt my channel to keep doing them? No, if you have, content that you're putting out that performs well, and then content that still, is attracting, a decent audience, but it doesn't perform as well as your other stuff, no, it's fine. You just have to know when you publish that content that you're in the process of growing the audience that responds to that content, and just don't look at it like, oh, this content sucks. Just look at it as like, okay, people are digging this, which means that more people will dig it, but I just have to, keep doing this in order to, to grow that audience of the people that do dig it. John Post, my pleasure. Hey, John, man, I don't know if you're down for this, but if you're down right now, if you want to go hard right now, I don't know how committed you are to this, but if you want to go for it, I'll bring you into my stream right now. But here's what I need you to do. I'm going to go into my Twitter account, John. If you have a Twitter account, this is only going to work if you have a Twitter account. But John, I'll bring you on stream right now, and we can get your first stream, public stream, not, actually you streaming stuff, but, you can come on here. We'll just have a quick interchange real quick before I let you go. But if you want to come on here right now, shoot me a DM on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, and I'll send you a link and you can come on right now. So I'll give you just a couple minutes to get that ready, and then you can come on right now, and we'll just go ahead and shatter that initial nervous part about being on a live stream. We're just going to go ahead and just throw that out the window because that's how we roll here. So if you want to come on, I'm looking at my DMs right now, seeing some that I actually need to address as well. But I'm looking at my DMs right now, and I'm waiting for that to come in. So I'll just refresh the page occasionally here over the next few minutes, and if I see yours pop up, then I will, I'll shoot you a link and you can come in here. Keep in mind, you got to make sure that there's no music playing in the background. We do not have like profanity, anything like that going on here. And I'm just going to trust you, even though, like we've never interacted before. I'm going to trust you on this one. But just make sure that, you don't have any music playing, anything that can get me in trouble from a copyright perspective. And I'll bring you on the stream. So if you could just let me know in the chat if you're going to do it or not as well, just so I know to actually look for it or not. He's probably like, didn't expect this to happen. Oh, and I'm serious, John. Like I'm looking for it right now. Simply Small Injury Repair says, John, we support you. So yeah, we'll see what's up with John here. We'll see if he ends up coming on. So yeah, this will be pretty cool. Hopefully we can get John on here to give this a shot, because You know, like for a lot of us, you know, when we're streaming, like it can be scary, like when you're first getting started, just because it's like, hey, you know, what's going on? So I'm just here refreshing my Twitter, waiting for John, and we'll see what happens here. So let's see here. While that's going on, we will continue moving forward, and I will get some additional questions out here while we're waiting to see what's going on with John. And let's see here. So next up on our list is classical music performed on a visual satisfaction. Performed on a visual satisfaction, an effective way to grow a channel. I'm not sure what you mean by performed on a visual satisfaction. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean classical music performed, like if you're performing classical music, you know, on your channel, is it effective? Absolutely. Like people, you know, if they're looking around for classical music and people respond positively to how you're playing it, then of course, yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. So I'm looking for John here. He might have left. I don't know. Like he might have left after, right after that question was asked. I'm not sure, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled here for John. And hey, John, if you have any problem, okay, so you followed me. Let me go follow you just to make sure that you can send me a DM. So John, I just followed you here. So you should be able to send me a DM now. I'll actually send you one to get this party started. This is exciting. Super exciting. To see what's up here. See here. I'm not set up. We could log in on the laptop. Okay. So here's what's going on. So John and I are talking right now. Yep, your call. I can give you a few minutes to set up if you like. Or you can come in on your laptop or call. All right. So yeah, so John's coming on. So if you guys want to meet John, I think he's going to be coming on, and we're going to rock and roll here. So we're gonna go ahead and shake that nervousness right out of John. that's what we're gonna do. So if you can get through this, John, then you'll be fine on whatever stream that you decide to do. You'll be awesome. So, okay, let's see here. How do you deal with trolls trying to destroy your channel? It's part of the thing. So basically, you know, trolls will come and go. In some cases, you know, trolls are going to be a little bit more aggressive than other trolls. So like, for example, you know, like if you have people, like it depends on what you do. So like I've had people to where, you know, I didn't respond to them in chat. And since they didn't respond to them in chat out of all the people that were here, then, you know, they took personal offense to it. They made videos about it. They started going in, like anytime somebody would super chat, they would go and they would give, you know, that person, you know, a hard time in their comments, that kind of stuff. And it was pretty intense for about, I don't know, I would say 2 to 3 weeks in terms of how aggressive they were towards me, the viewers, the people that were giving super chats and all that, on Twitter, you know, everywhere. But, you know, eventually, you know, they stopped getting the attention that they were after. They didn't get the attention that they were after. And then they ended up just kind of fading away. So in terms of, you know, people, you know, trying to troll you and, you know, all of that, it's going to happen. It's part of the gig. Okay, here I'm going to pass this link over to John. Here is the join link. So, but yeah, I mean, that sort of thing's going to happen, and it's, you know, it's just part of the gig. So, you know, like you can't take things like that seriously. You know, when you do have people come in and they start, you know, giving you a hard time about your stuff, like it's just part of the thing. And it doesn't matter, you know, what type of content that you make. It doesn't matter if you're doing gaming content, if you're doing cooking videos, if you're doing self-help stuff, if you're doing YouTube tips, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter like how much you're trying to help people or how much you're trying to do anything. There's still going to be people to see it and give you a hard time about it. Like I had this guy come into my comments just the other day, and he's talking about like all this, you know, craziness. And then I go and I look at his channel, and this is always what it looks like. I go and I look at his channel. He wasn't even uploading content. So it's like, you know, come on. Right. So, you know, that's typically the case. People usually that, you know, end up saying the most are the ones that are doing the least. Like if somebody has time to troll you actively, then there's a really good chance that, you know, that they're not really doing much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, I would like to introduce you to John. What is up, John?
Nothing much, Nick. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure, man. I can't hear you very well. Your audio is a little bit low. If you can turn it up, that would be fantastic.
How about that? Is that any better?
There we go. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Sweet, man. So you're going to start live streaming on your channel. When's your first live stream going to be?
I was planning on doing it Thursday night. I create a lot of fantasy football content. So before the NFL season kicked off this Thursday, I was going to stream a little bit before the hour to talk about some of the fantasy matchups and what else is going on in the NFL right now.
Nice. Super cool. So basically your stream is basically going to be about like fantasy football and all of that. That's what the stream's going to be about?
Correct.
Super cool, man. So for your channel, for anybody here that is into, fantasy football, and look, please, if you're not into like fantasy football and things like that, please do not go over there and subscribe because, if you're not the right fit, then, if you guys hang out my stream, you already know that that's not, the right thing to do. But if you are into fantasy football and, all of that, and you want to support John on his, first live stream, John, what is your YouTube channel to where they would be able to find you?
The name of the YouTube channel is Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports.
Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports is the name of his YouTube channel. And the first live stream is going to be Thursday at what time?
7 o'clock Eastern time.
Eastern time?
Yep.
Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern time there. So if you are interested in that type of content, go over there and definitely support John. And if you have the time, hang out in that first live stream so we can have some people, interacting in that first live stream. So John, in terms of, because you mentioned being nervous, and this is something that we all go through in my first live stream as well. Like I was like, oh man, like for me, mine was like I was on video. So I had like the little camera down there in the corner. But most of the screen was taken up with Photoshop because I was like, if this goes wrong, then then I can take myself off and just kind of focus on the Photoshop.
Right, that's what I'm going to have. I'll be in the corner on the one side with a lot of information taking up most of the screen.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Because then in that case, if you're like, hey, I need to, take a break or I need to do something, then you can just take that small part off and then you still have the information on there. So that's definitely a really good move. So like I was saying before, man, and when we were talking in chat, when you do your live stream, I would just make sure, since you are doing, that type of content, that, when your stream first starts, that you just let people know, hey, today we're going to be talking about, and be as specific as you can about what you're going to be talking about, so that like the people that are going to be joining live, they probably won't even see that part. But, as you're just getting started though, the people that are going to be coming on the replay for that, you want to make sure that you have that context there for them so that they can have an idea of what's going on. Because a big mistake that a lot of new live streamers make is they'll start the stream and then they'll say something along the lines of, hey, I'm just going to hang out until somebody comes in and joins the stream, right? So I'm just going to hang out and just kind of wait till what's going on. And the downside of that is for the people that do come into the stream, there's nothing going on.
Right.
right. So you want to make sure that, you just keep the whole thing moving so that as people come in, even if you don't have anybody come in for the first 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it ends up being, but as people come in, there's something happening. And another best practice when you're streaming, and I should do this more here as well, but I don't. I just kind of lean on the idea that, it's usually my core audience that will end up coming out and hanging in the live streams. But one thing that's also really good practice as well is if you do notice little surges in your viewership during your stream, like let's say it's like, oh, hey, I just had, 5 new people join. Then in that case, just reminding them, hey, really quick, if you're just joining the stream, I want to let you know this is what we're doing today. So that, you can just kind of re-engage those people and just kind of let them know what's going on. Because, when people are coming in, they have the title and the thumbnail in terms of context. But, when you can just let them have a little bit of specifics about where you're at in the stream type of thing without putting too much time and too much of a spotlight on it, that can be really advantageous as well, just to kind of keep people watching when they come to the stream. I recommend you do that too. My pleasure, man. Yeah. So since you are going to be, doing your live stream, before I let you off of here, do you have, any questions about your stream or anything like that? Just while we're here, having the conversation?
No, a lot of the questions you already answered when I put in the original question. I got to make sure I have all my research ready especially for the game that's on Thursday night, just in case, somebody does pop in and have a question about maybe an injury or a player that might not be playing in that game.
Okay,
So
cool.
that was it.
Well, John, man, thank you so much for coming on. I hope this kind of helped a little bit on the nervous side of things. And I wish you the best of luck on your live stream that you do on Thursday at 7. And again, if you could just one more time, just say your channel name, just for anybody that is into the fantasy sports, so they can come over and hang out there. So just one more time, if you could just say what the channel is.
Sure. The YouTube channel is Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports.
Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports is the name of the channel. Awesome,
Correct.
John. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. And I wish you the best of luck on your channel and on the stream that you're going to be doing on Thursday. Thanks again for coming on here, man. Super appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Take care. All right. So that's cool. All right, sweet. So we got John live streaming, right out of the gate. So fantastic. High five and fist bump to John for taking that leap. Love it. Absolutely love it. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out in the stream today. I hope that you learned something. I do want to, just remind you, if you're getting started on YouTube, during these streams, there's a lot of information that, that we talk about, a lot of things that, just a lot of stuff, that we go over. And I know that it can seem overwhelming. So because of that, I encourage you to be able to, or not to be able to, but to just pick, like a few things that you've, heard during the live stream, and just think of, how these things apply to what it is that you're doing. And if there's anything that, that you can apply and really focus on, over the course of, let's say, the next week or the next few weeks, so that you can just kind of, get a really good, handle on those things. Because, part of this, the biggest part of YouTube is, of course, the content, but there's just so much else that goes on, and it can be overwhelming. So because of that, just continuing to learn through that process is really important, and making sure that you are taking the information that you hear, because it's fun to hang out here, right? We talk about a lot of stuff, but, one of the things that is really important is to make sure that, when you do hear all this information, that you are taking some of it, and hopefully all of it, and you're applying it to what it is that you're doing, because that's where the actual results come from. Like hanging out doesn't do much, right? You got to take the information and actually apply it to what it is that you're doing, so that you can start, getting everything moving along in the direction that you're wanting to take things. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Again, I've got links down in the description below to sponsors and to a bunch of other things as well that are useful to you as a content creator. So definitely make sure that you check the description below on the way out to see if there's anything down there that you find interesting or helpful for what it is that you're doing. And besides that, everybody have an awesome rest of your week, and I will see you next time.
If you're Thanks for watching Nimmin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description below this stream. See you next week.
Hey, and really quick, I didn't mention this during the stream, but I want to thank, just in case he's still in here, Small Engine Repair was the chatter of the day. 214 chats. Albie Tastic was number 2. Little Crafty Nook was number 3. Magic Flying Potato was number 5. Doug Houston was number 4. So thank you, you guys, for the for being the most engaged viewers today during the stream. I appreciate it. Gonna start adding rewards to those in the future once this thing gets fine-tuned. Man, I really hope John has an awesome stream. Super cool of him to come on the stream today. Really hope that he has a really good time with that stream. You know, it's always awesome seeing, like, you know, and for a lot of the people that hang out here too, you know, like seeing like new people come onto the platform and then watching people, you know, go through the process in terms of, you know, like starting out, and then, like, you know, you start out and then you have that like growing pains part in terms of like trying to get everything rolling, then you get everything rolling, then you start hitting these milestones, then you start monetizing, and then you watch people like go full time and like all that stuff. It's just incredible. But, you know, like it all starts with like taking the risk though, you know, like with what John did, right? So like in his case, he could have easily said, right? He could have been like, you know, hey, I'm you know, like, nah, that's cool. You know, not gonna do it. You know, he could have done that. But he was like, yeah, let's do this. And he came on, right? And same exact thing goes with his live stream that he's going to be doing on Thursday. You know, like he could just be like, you know what, I'm just nervous and I'm not going to do it. But instead he's pushing himself and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna live stream on Thursday. I'm scared. He didn't say scared. He said nervous. I'm nervous, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like, it's just awesome. Like I love, like, for me, for, you know, for the type of content that I make, like for me, like that side of things is really encouraging. Just for me, just watching people, you know, go through that process, just because, you know, like I know that, you know, it's intimidating. And it's cool just watching people, you know, do that sort of stuff, because, you know, like without taking those types of risks, you know, like you never know, you know, like if you don't take the risk, you never know, you know, like how awesome things could be. So it's pretty cool that he's going to do that. Simply Small Injury Repair says you took a risk too because he could have wrecked your stream. Yeah, technically. Yeah, absolutely. In StreamYard here, like I can see a preview when somebody comes on. So, you know, so of course, you know, I could see and make sure that, you know, like he was, you know, dressed and like all the obvious stuff. Like I could see that. But yeah, he could have came on and just said, you know, something, you know, like profane or something like that right out of the gate. So, you know, absolutely. But like, you know, really though, you know, I think he was, you know, he's really the one that is taking the risk in that part. But, you know, super cool just to see that going down. Absolutely love it. Lynn the Explorer says was laid off and now trying YouTube. Wish me luck. Yeah, that's cool. Super cool. So, so one thing to keep in mind though, is that, you know, when it comes to YouTube, like it can take some time. So because of that, like, you know, do what you can and like go all in if you can. But if like, you know, things are like funds are tight and things like that, then I would, you know, do something else while you're trying to get your YouTube channel going. Just because, you know, it can take some time. But if you have like the savings and all that, and you're like, hey, you know, I can dedicate, you know, this amount of time. And then if it doesn't work within this amount of time, or I can't get it going within this amount of time, then I'll go do that. That's super cool, because then you can just go all in on it. So like, for example, Natalie from the YouTube channel Design to the Nines. So through this live stream, actually, she ended up getting a free ticket a couple of years ago to Vid Summit. And when she went there, you know, one of the things that she mentioned in her submission for that was that, you know, that she basically was just going all in. She's like, you know what, I'm just going all in on my YouTube channel. Like, this is the only thing that I'm focused on, or the only thing that I'm doing, essentially. And in her case, she was able to, you know, turn it into something. Now, you know, she's got a, you know, bigger channel. She's, you know, full time. She's getting all these like sponsor deals and stuff, and she's just crushing it. Like, it's just cool. You know, when people do take that, you know, that risk, just like you're doing, you know, saying that you're trying YouTube now, when people take that risk and it works out. But, you know, for a lot of people though, they do take that risk and it doesn't work out. So just make sure that, you know, you do give yourself like a, you know, like a window of time to where you're like, hey, you know, if I'm not seeing momentum here, then I'm still going to keep doing this until I figure it out. Just because I can promise you there's tons of opportunity here. But when you are, you know, considering doing that, just think to yourself, like, hey, I'm going to give myself this window of time. And then if things aren't starting to go the way that I'm wanting them to go within that window of time, then in that case, I'm going to, get something to sustain me in the meantime. But on the other side of that, there's also the monetization. So, and this is for Lynn, the Explorer here. But like when it comes to monetization, you have to make sure that that you're thinking really hard about monetization. Like if you're wanting to use this as something to generate income, then you have to make sure that you're prioritizing monetization because, just ad revenue, if you only rely on ad revenue, in a lot of cases, most cases, I would say, it's going to take a considerable amount of time. Like I wouldn't be able to survive off of, I mean, technically I could, but like I would not want to survive just off of my ad revenue, just because it's, it's up and down. There's things that supplement that, like, super chats, of course, that come in and like memberships and things like that. But like just the ad revenue that I get off of my channel, it would definitely, I could survive off of it, but it would be, like I wouldn't want to, just because it fluctuates so much. So because of that, Lynn, if you are, wanting to do this full time or earn like serious money from YouTube, make sure that you are, diversifying and that you're not just looking at ad revenue, but you're also thinking like, hey, I'm going to do YouTube content, but I'm going to do YouTube content that is profitable. And to make sure that you are doing something that's profitable, if you're trying to do this full time, make sure that you are like researching the type of content that you're doing. Literally look at every single channel that makes content like yours. I'm actually going through this with a friend of mine right now. Look at every channel that makes content like yours and go and look in their descriptions, watch their videos to see any like sponsor mentions, things like that, and start charting all of that stuff. Because what those are going to show you is that's going to show you like, these are the company that are sponsoring the type of content that I make. These are, all of the different things that people promote as an affiliate. So let me make sure that I make a note of these and make sure that I note where I can sign up for these things as an affiliate. These are, this is how many, if people typically, like one thing that we found with my friend that's starting with the type of content that he's wanting to make, there's a lot of people that are using Patreon. But when you actually follow that through, there's really only one guy that's making like anything off of Patreon in that space. And it's not enough to where, it would really matter. So, because of that, go in and research around all of the people that make content like yours, big and small channels, and just see all the different, creative ways that they're monetizing, and use that as kind of like a guide. And Lynn, like in your very first video, start monetizing like that very first video. So you're not going to be able to do it through through Google ads, or through YouTube ads, I mean, but you can do it through like merch or affiliates or, things like that. So just make sure that you're, considering that sort of thing, as well. And then if you take that approach and you start, applying some of these things right out of the gate, then that can help your income grow as your channel grows, which is a big win. Let's see here. Gist 2020 says, when I started on YouTube, I was totally new and any and all tech and internet. Purchased my first computer and internet for the first time the month before starting. Question, any resource recommendations? Yeah. So in terms of resources for YouTube content creators, like I've got links in the description of this video, links in the descriptions of all of my YouTube videos. I also have a website that I built called bestcreatortools.com. That website is, and I mentioned that in my podcast. I don't usually mention that on my YouTube channel. I've mentioned it a couple times, but not a lot. But that website is basically where I send people when they ask me for recommendations on stuff. So I've got like video editing software over there. I've got growth tools over there. I've got thumbnail making stuff over there, and I've got a big list of stuff that I'm still wanting to add to it as well. But there's a ton of resources over there that you'll find as well. Let's see here. Are you guys seeing two messages? Not sure what that is, Mr. Cameron Junkie. So I'm just kind of reading through the comments here really quick. Oh, you changed your name already. Nice. Still waiting for Google to update it. Nice. Yeah, but merch is great. Sponsorships are also good. But with sponsorships, of course, you have to be putting out the type of content. And I'm not sure like what your experience is and all of that like coming into this, Lynn. But like with merch, that can definitely, kind of add up over time. But, unless you're being really aggressive on the merch and you're making some really cool stuff, in terms of that sustaining a lifestyle, it's probably going to be a harder road. Sponsorships are great. And those can, be substantial, but that's one of those things that you want to make sure that like your content type supports sponsorships like in mass. And you also want to make sure that the content type for the type of content that you're going to be putting out, you want to make sure that you are doing things in a way that's sponsor friendly, that would, make them want to work with you. You have to make sure that you're taking that approach. So AB says, don't you think, and this is good, just some general conversational stuff, says, don't you think niching down is crap these days as a brand evolves with the kind of stuff that we do? It just becomes boring when you make the same stuff repeated in a gazillion ways. So no, niching down is proven to work. It's a fast way to get a channel going, and it's a fast way to keep a channel going. Now, of course, no matter what type of content that you make, you're going to be reaching a specific audience. So you can make different types of content as long as you're serving the same audience. Like a lot of people will think when they think of niching down, they think of it from the perspective of, I can only make content inside this small little box. But when you look at niching down as I'm making content for this audience, then in that case, it'll widen you up. It'll take you out of the box. So to put this into a real life example, since you're watching my stream right now, on my channel, if you are watching my content, typically, I'll put out, YouTube help videos in terms of like, how to get views, how to get subscribers, how to get more watch time, all the little, tricks around it, YouTube Miss, that kind of stuff. That is categorized under YouTube help. And then I also put out live streaming content, which typically doesn't perform as well as the YouTube help stuff immediately, but long-term, it typically outperforms it. But the live streaming content is for live streamers because, YouTube content creators are live streamers. They need that help. And then I have some mobile related content as well. I've got some like, mindset stuff, which goes a little bit outside of that box. But if I wanted to, and I'm actually considering doing this, I could also do like skits. But when I would do those skits, the humor within those skits would need to be for my audience. It would need to be around things that YouTube content creators could relate to. So that, when YouTube starts showing my content to, the YouTube content creators that interact with my channel and the ones that they think would be a good candidate for the channel, when they come into it, right out of the gate, I would need to do something at the very beginning of that skit in order to help them know that like, this is something that's for you, right? Same exact thing if I were to start doing like motivational videos. I would just cater that motivational content towards the YouTube content creator and not like a self-help person or not fitness or something like that. It would all be catered towards the YouTube content creator because that's who I'm serving. So, when it comes to niching down, it's not necessarily a limitation. It's more of a, like, who is it that I'm making content for? And for who it is that I'm making content for, what are all of the different types of content that I could make to really serve that audience? So, like for my friend, that I was talking about before that's starting a YouTube channel, like for him, like we're going through, these different show ideas and stuff. And he's actually coming up, with those. He's got some killer ideas, but like in his case, he's got like all these different show ideas that are still a fantastic fit for the people that are enthusiasts for the type of content that he's making. So, all of those are a great fit. So, like, let's say, for example, that like, if you're doing, like live streaming tech, just as an example, like you're doing live streaming tech content, then, you're going to be getting in front of live streamers. And since you're getting in front of live streamers, then in that case, you're those live streamers. And of course you can get granular with this. But, at scale, live streamers is who you're going to be getting in front of, most of the time. So because of that, mixing in some other type of content is fine, as long as it's something that would be relevant to that audience. It's the idea. But yeah, niching down, like variety is pretty much dead. So like, unless you have like a massive personality channel, and you've already grown that audience, based on just how YouTube works, it's really hard for variety channels to like get going on YouTube. So they can, but it's a much, it's typically, I won't say always because there's always, outliers, but it's typically a much, it's a longer process for those people. Let's see here. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, it's not sustainable for me in the long run. This is why I prefer to be a personal brand by being a vlogger and incorporating my interests under the same umbrella. Yeah, the problem with that is that that's great, right? That's great. But when it comes to you, like I'm building my personal brand too, right? And you know, a lot of content creators, like if they're building it off of their name, then they're building a personal brand. But it's about who it is that you're serving with your content. So for example, you know, you're being a vlogger. So you are going to be tapping into the people that are typically into that. And what's going to end up happening is those people that, you know, love your vlog content. You know, when you start doing something a little bit outside of that, those people, you know, may or may not respond to that content. And then you're going to be at that crossroads to where you're like, okay, well, do I fall back into this to serve that same audience or not? Right. So ultimately it'd be great, you know, if we could all just make anything that we wanted to, and then, you know, like it would just automatically go in front of the right people and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way at this point in time. So that's why, you know, we always recommend that you niche down, because it's proven to be effective. And in addition to that, your conversions are usually higher in terms of subscribers, you know, viewers to subscribers as well. And you also become a lot more valuable to sponsors, because, you know, for example, if you make content around a very specific thing, then when it comes to like sponsorship, you know, down the road, then, you know, if somebody is trying to work with you, like let's say, because you're vlogging. So let's say, for example, it ends up being like a sunglass brand in your case, then in that case, you know, that definitely fits into, you know, your vlogs. But if you end up, you know, making a lot of content, you know, once you build that vlog audience, if you also make a lot of content where you're just like hanging out in your room and you're doing like commentary content, then all of a sudden you're going to start not being valuable anymore to that sunglass brand, right? So that's where things like that come into play. Let's see here. I'm just going to go through a few more of these here, and then I'm going to head off. It's like almost midnight here locally, but I figured I'd just come back in here for those of you that were just, you know, still hanging out, vibing out to the music. I'm like, hey, let's come back in here and see what's going on. Chad, hey man, congratulations on your 10,000 subscribers, man. High five and fist bump to you. 24 away from 10,000 subscribers. It's a huge milestone, man. Congratulations on that. And I'm sure you'll hit that, you know, extremely soon. So congratulations on you for hitting that 10,000 subscribers, man. Nice work. Let's see here. My hope is to build up a niche channel until it's sustainable, then add a personal blog channel. Catherine Manning has done a great job with this. Yeah, that's a good approach. Like the thing is like, you know, once you have a channel, it's really easy to jumpstart other channels, but you also have to make sure that the crossover is good. So from a niche channel to a vlog channel, easy, because, you know, the people that are interacting with the content, you let them know that you have a, you know, a vlog channel, and then, you know, the ones that care will go over there and, you know, and participate in the vlog channel. But on the other side, it's a little bit more difficult. So if you start on the vlog channel and then you cross over into like, hey, I'm starting this niche thing, then you can really screw things up, because you have people that are interested in the vlogs, but then they go over just to support you because they want to show you that support because they love your, you know, vlog content. But then it screws up who YouTube thinks that content is for on the niche side. And then you might end up not getting in front of the people that you're trying to, which then in turn can make that channel not perform great. So, you know, it can go in both directions there. Let's see here. Yep. Hey, you know what? Actually, like while we're doing that, let me actually turn this into a, excuse me. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and change this now. Let me go down here. Okay, so now I just turn it into subscriber chat. So, so here in just a second, gotta be a subscriber for the rest of this conversation. So, I mean, you can still hang out, but in terms of the chat. So let's see here. Small engine repair, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. What's up, Beastian Online? Hope that you're doing great. Watch Disciple. What's up, dude? Hope that you're doing awesome. Oh, it's great. Let's see here. Should we share externally or let YouTube do its thing? So let YouTube do its thing, but if you have like a perfect match place where you can share your content, then try it. And then once you, once you are sharing into that area, so let's say, for example, it's a subreddit that you've created about reptiles and research, or it's a Facebook group, something like that. Then in that case, like share your content there and then go and look at your analytics to see how people are responding to it. So, one thing you'll find is like, hey, even if it's in a perfect fit group, only a small amount of people are going to actually convert over into the video. The ones that do convert into the video, out of those people, only a certain amount of people are going to watch it for, a longer period of time. But you're going to, you're going to find all that out. But you go into your, once you share, then, let some people, actually come in and interact with the video. But then you can go into your traffic sources, go into external. And then, for example, like if it was like Facebook, then you'll be able to see like, okay, people coming from Facebook, they typically watch for about this time, this many minutes or this percentage viewed from directly from Facebook. Yeah, on that one, I'm not sure. You'll have to hit up Daryl for that one, for the virtual bid summit tickets. I'm not 100% sure on exactly how those are being dished out. So you'll definitely have to hit him up on those. Stormtrooper help in the background. So my brother actually ordered those quite some time ago. So with those, when he ordered those, he got those from the place. It's called Antos or something like that, I think. ATA Works is what it's called. So we ordered these from a place called ATA Works. This isn't one, just to be a snob here. So this isn't one that you get like at the mall. This is actually like a prop replica. So this company, ATA Works, they actually, make some stuff for the movies and all that stuff. And this is a prop replica based on that. I've got fans to go inside, but I've never put them in. My brother's usually the one that does that kind of stuff. And we just haven't done it on mine yet. But I got fans for it and all of that. But yeah, they do some really cool stuff with the insides of these, but mine's really basic on what's in the inside. And it's funny too, because of the hole, when you put it on, you have to actually put it on sideways and then turn it once your head's in there. so it's like it locks it in there. It's kind of funny. Let's see here. How many channel keywords do you recommend? So for channel keywords, just do like, 10. Just think of like, okay, what is the, what's the best way to describe the type of content that I make? And just do like, 10, maybe 15. But just think of like the best possible way that you can describe what it is that you're doing and use the keywords around that. Let's see here. Tips to keep a YouTube mastermind group engaging. Be there, show up. Like with anything, showing up. That's the way that you keep everything going, is just keep showing up every day, show up, add something to it. So like in your case, like if you are, if you're running the mastermind group, I would recommend that you make sure that you are every day that you're checking like the YouTube creator forum homepage, because then you can see like any activity that's happening on YouTube. So for example, like when I open up my browser, you can set in Google Chrome, you can set to where when your browser opens, you can have it to where it'll cascade windows. So you can have, like a bunch of different things open at the same time when you open it. One of the things that I have is the YouTube creator blog. Another one is Google Trends. Another one is the YouTube community forums. Of course, I have Twitter open, but basically like what you want to do is you want to look, you want to get that type of stuff And then that way, for your mastermind, you can use it as a way to, share, like if anything's going down on YouTube, if they make any updates to the YouTube creator blog, that kind of type of stuff. But in addition to that, since it's a mastermind, another thing that you can do is just kind of, think of some themes that you can do like every week. So like, for example, if it's like, Monday, then in that case, you could do like Mindset Monday, to where it's like, hey, everybody, or Motivational Monday, where it's like, hey, we're starting our week, what are you guys working on this week? That type of thing. So you can just get the conversation going to try to get some feedback. Tuesday, you could do like Thumbnail Tuesday, hey, everybody post your latest thumbnail, like that type of thing, and then give each other feedback on it, those sorts of things. But if you create like themes around it, then that will help you, just have content that you can actually, start conversations with every day, if that's something that you want to do. Let's see. Yeah, I know. The one thing that I do know is that for all of that stuff, because like we gave away so much stuff over the course of like a bunch of different streams, like I'm still working through my Tuber Tools Access stuff too. Just because like we gave away so many of them, I just sit down and I'll be like, okay, here's a handful of them, and then like I'm done for the day on those, and I'll go back in, like here's a handful more. Like we gave away so much stuff that I know that a lot of people are still working through all of the different things that they were giving away. But if you won something, you'll get it. It just might take, maybe another week, maybe two, for everybody to fully fulfill everything. I know Brad, actually, he was just posting, he got his Star Wars script that he got from that giveaway as well. Yeah, Jade says she just got an email from Daniel last week. Yeah, nice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and head off. So everybody have an awesome rest of your week. Great, rest of your weekend. And I will see you next week. Thank you for hanging out. And everybody just, enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you soon.